intro because Josh ain't here again.
Uh,
He's injured his back pretty freaking badly. And I'm even hoping pings are going off. It did not go last week when I did the solo show. We'll find out within a minute if the pings are going off. But regardless, we are here. Hello, everybody, to the
Hello.
Geek Matrix DC Comics Review Show, episode number, I don't remember. That's Josh's job now.
I haven't
my
been
name is
here
Rob.
consistently, so I couldn't say.
Yeah, that is Brandon. Like he said, he hasn't been here consistently. I know it's somewhere in the mid to late 290s. We're almost at 300. It's coming up.
Something like that.
If I had to pull a number out of my hat, 297, 298, something like that.
We should really have like the Spotify or Twitch lined up so we can just see it, you know.
Yeah, we got to get even the YouTube channel. I want to get the YouTube channel cleaned up. I'm gonna actually get some stuff going on that. So yeah, we're here every week talking the week's DC Comics release, and this week is no different. I miss saying that. You know, I feel like I had my catchphrases when I was hosting, and that was one of them. Oh man, it was fun. Honorable mentions this week include DC Cross Sonic the Hedgehog, the Metal Legion #2. It was a pretty fun first issue. Still very much a Sonic the Hedgehog comic. It's a writer that knows Sonic the Hedgehog, wrote a bunch of comics, wrote for the games. Is a Sonic writer, so you're going to get a Sonic story with DC heroes. If that's not your jam, that's not your jam, but if it is your jam, it's pretty fucking good. Harley and Ivy, Life and Crimes #6. I have not been keeping up with this, but it's Harley and Ivy. If you like Harley and Ivy, you're probably going to like this. Batgirl #20. Personally not been keeping up with it either, but from what I understand, Tate Bromble has been writing a hell of a book for old Cassandra Cain. Supergirl Survive #1. I read not long before airtime today, and it was surprisingly good and unsurprisingly dark, but also like a tinge of horror style to it.
Yeah.
Like that like you think of like movies like San Andreas or The Day After Tomorrow, like disaster thrillers. It really has that vibe to it. It puts a bigger weight on the destruction of Krypton than you'd ever thought possible.
Interesting. Yeah, I was excited for the premise, but also especially for the creative team.
Yeah.
Ethan S. Parker and Griffin Sheridan are they've been around for a while, mostly in like comic book publication, I suppose you could say. And a few years ago, I can't believe it's been a few years ago now, which is crazy. They finally put out their first book, Kill Your Darlings, and it was really good. Very impressed with the debut, and ever since then I've been like, man, like they've come a long way from being essentially Donny Cates' interns.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I was like, good for them for doing this. It's pretty cool looking DC Elseworlds for Supergirl with a great premise of a teenage Supergirl looking after the baby Clark, which canonically was what she was supposed to do, but didn't due to Phantom Zone shenanigans.
And if I can actually add something to it, just like a mild spoiler in a way, it's not even just baby Clark. It's actually a little closer to toddler Clark. Like he's over a year old at this point.
Okay.
He's even got some words coming out.
There you go.
Yeah, like it's pretty wild. And I know depending on the canon, like sometimes the destruction of Krypton happens like days after Clark is born, or even like a year or two after Clark was born.
Yeah.
Again, depending on the canon. But this one, like he's a lot older than you'd expect.
Yeah, I think it's usually, about a year or so. Like the most recent story we saw taking place on a flashback to Krypton, the Mark Waid Action Comics story, had him as probably an infant, maybe 6 months old or so.
Yeah.
So it's usually somewhere, in that time frame. It's sometimes it's immediate, like you said. Sometimes it's a year or so.
Yeah. Or if you look at the 1978 Superman classic, he's like 4 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
Being portrayed as a 1-year-old. This kid walked out of the rocket. I don't care what you say. So that was happening, and fresh off the heels of last week's Superman Father of Tomorrow, which was a lot better than I ever expected. I was actually hooked from that in like the first few pages. It was fantastic.
It's really good. I have not had a chance to check that one out, but I do want to read it. That's also in my ever increasing to be read pile.
It happens. We've all been there. I promise I'm not bragging when I say I finally caught up to my stuff. I only caught up to my stuff because I fractured my knuckle at work and I was
Dang.
kind of on modified duties for 2 weeks, so I had a lot of free time to read at work. Don't tell my bosses because I wasn't allowed to do that.
No, hey, mum's the word.
Yeah.
No, I'm only just now starting to finally catch back up on my weekly Shonen Jump titles, so I'm
Shit.
slowly but surely trying to climb my way back up the mountain. Or honestly, it's probably going to be more like Sisyphus pushing up that fucking boulder because I'm just going to make some progress, and then there's going to be a million
Fall
other
back
things
down.
that I have to read, and it'll just never
Yeah.
end.
And then
So
One Piece comes back, Dragon Ball Super
yeah.
comes back, and Bleach has another sequel. It's just, oh no.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I'm glad to hear that that Superman Man of Tomorrow was such a strong debut. That was another one that I
Yeah.
felt like had a really strong premise.
Yeah, it was a very interesting premise. It was the kind of premise that I'm always on the fence about. I just feel like I don't know if this is for me. This kind of feels like a really it's an Elseworlds, but it's a really out there Elseworlds that I feel like doesn't have much to it. It
Yeah.
finds much. It finds a lot. To
Well,
talk about.
it
It was really
almost feels like, again, maybe not the best analogy, but like it's almost like um, the Superman version of God, what was that miniseries called? Night of Vengeance, where Thomas Wayne becomes Batman. Like, let's say in a hypothetical world, it's Clark and why am I forgetting her name right now? Lana, who does not survive. Is that Superman's mother's name?
no Lara.
Laura.
Was her
It's
mother's name.
been a long week. But yeah, no, it sort of imagines a world where they die instead, and so Jor is forced to take on the role of Superman, or at least protector of Earth. Again, that's seems what the premise is supposed to be. You can tell me if I'm messing that up. And I think that's an interesting twist that reminds me of sort of Thomas Wayne essentially taking on the mantle as opposed to Bruce.
I mean, that's essentially what it is. But I'm trying to remember now. The thing that I was most curious about is why Jor ended up there and nobody else. Now, even though I read it, I don't remember. What the fuck?
I mean, maybe again, I have to read the issue to know, but I'm assuming it's for the same reasons they sent, Cal to Earth. It's similar to Krypton's what am I trying to say? Environment.
Yeah, but I mean, like, why he was in the rocket as opposed to anybody else?
Oh, I see. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know. Maybe it was like a test or something. Who knows?
yeah.
They
Fuck,
should
that's
do a
kind of funny. I
version.
should reread that.
If this is successful, they should do a version where it's none of them. It's Crypto who's the only survivor of Krypton.
Oh God.
And now you
I want
have
to see a version
Crypto,
where Lara shows up.
Crypto, the last Kryptonian.
Yeah.
There's your title right there.
Oh hell, here's a fucking thing. Zod being the only Kryptonian that comes to Earth, and
Well,
he just takes it over, and it's the rest of the DC heroes trying to fight back against Zod.
That's slightly different than what I was imagining. They did that Gods and Monsters animated movie where Zod was
I keep forgetting
Kryptonian survivor, which I thought was a super interesting take, like him essentially being Superman of this Earth. And I think he landed in Mexico or something like that, Latin American country. So his upbringing was very different as well. It's not like he was, raised in the heartland of America or anything.
No. And Kirk Langstrom was Batman and also an actual vampire.
Yeah.
That was such an interesting story.
Yeah, Boudica was your sort of Wonder Woman fill-in. So it was a really cool one. Great twist on the Trinity.
Yeah.
Highly recommend if anyone has not seen that.
Oh, yeah.
DC used to have some very good animated movies. Think about that all the time.
Yep.
Now, not so much.
Now, lucky if we get any.
Yeah. Did it go downhill with the establishment of the DCAU? Because that's honestly kind of where I draw the line of demarcation. Like everything after that Flashpoint movie It's just not very good.
They saw how the fan reaction to the New 52 and thought, you know what, we could do that in the movies too.
I just don't
Do a
understand.
Flashpoint, and then everything is going to be a little bit worse.
Yeah. Unfortunately. So I don't know. I mean, like, are there any diamonds in the rough?
From what I understand,
Maybe.
the Justice Society World War II movie was pretty good. I
Yeah.
haven't seen it, but I heard it was pretty good.
I did not watch that one either.
I know Crisis, the 3-part Crisis movies. I watched that.
I
I watched that and the
half.
Green Lantern, and that's the only thing I watched from the Tomorrowverse.
Yeah. I watched, oh God. I tried. I really did. I tried to keep up with it somewhat. So I remember watching Batman and Son and Bad Blood, and
Right.
Batman and Son was okay. Bad Blood was periodically okay, but mostly just kind of boring. Um, the Superman movies, I could not do. I could not do.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling that Death of Superman adaptation at all.
Yeah. I don't
And
blame you.
yeah, I tried to watch. What was that? Was it Crisis on Infinite Earths or the Dark Side War that kind of ended that universe?
I don't remember. Well, the recent one's Crisis.
Yeah.
They did 3-part Crisis movies, and that kind of just ended it all.
Yeah, I think
Now
that.
we're
Yeah, that
waiting
was.
for another.
Yeah, I remember watching the first one, and I was like, okay, I'm done with this.
Yeah. It did
Um,
get a bit better in the second and third ones, but by the end, I was just like, this was okay.
yeah.
Like, I hate to say it, CW did it better.
Yeah.
I'll give it this though: the animated movies, it had the best final presentation for Kevin Conroy. Though, if you've ever seen that one clip
Mm.
where the negative wave, what the fuck was it called? Was it no, not negative wave, anti-life wave? The fuck was it
Yeah,
called?
something like that.
Something like that. Was going through the multiverse, and then it ended on it started going through the BTOS universe,
Mm.
and Batman was on a rooftop watching it happen with the red skies, and the Joker shows up, and they start fighting, going back and forth. The Joker's like, of course we're together at the end of the world,
Yeah.
and it's Mark Hamill voicing the Joker again,
Huh.
and Kevin Conroy voicing Batman for basically that BTOS character for the last time before he passed away.
Yeah.
Just says, if I'm going out the best way possible, being Batman, and
Love that.
that's where it ends. It was fucking beautiful.
Ugh.
That is the saving grace for me for those movies.
Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. I'll
Yeah.
give that some credit. Yeah. Damn. Now you got
Yeah.
me thinking about how much I miss Kevin Conroy.
Me too, man.
Although I will say,
watch that clip if you miss it.
yeah, I was thinking about this, I think like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, obviously Kevin Conroy's untopped in terms of voices for the Batman, but like if I had to choose a runner-up, like someone that I feel is easily the second best and could fill that role, who would I pick? I think the one that I kept coming back to is Bruce Greenwood, who hasn't done it a lot, but every time he's done Batman, it's phenomenal. I could be biased because Under the Red Hood is one of the best DC animated movies, in my opinion. Don't at me. But he's done it in other stuff too, and it's always great. He was Batman and Young Justice and didn't have a ton of speaking lines, but really did a good job.
See, I don't hate it, but it's not up there for me. I felt his Batman voice, while it's recognizable, was kind of tame in comparison. Like, you look at other ones like Diedrich Bader, you look at obviously Kevin Conroy, you look at, I always forget the actor's name from The Batman 2004.
Oh, Reno Romano.
Reno
You know why I
Romano.
remember that? Because I'll never forget this. You reminded me of commercials I had not seen in years. It was like a buried memory where it's like, oh
Yeah.
my God, wait. And I had to look it up, and I was like,
That
oh
was definitely
shit,
him.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's Batman. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll never forget watching those. Was it Toyota or Mazda?
I think it was Mazda.
Mazda, yeah.
Yeah.
He did
Yeah,
those
that was
commercials for years.
yeah, like I remember seeing that as a kid, but it's like one of those like you can remember the voice of it kind of, or you can remember the content, but like not super closely. But when I watched it again, I was like, oh my god, yeah, that's totally him.
Yeah,
Interesting that you say that because he would probably be number 3 for me. But
right
that's
on.
totally
Yeah,
nostalgia. The Batman was
yeah,
like my show.
it was
So much,
fantastic.
so much so that like there was like I had this almost hater phase where I was like, Brave and the Bold sucks. Like I hate that show. Like it's corny. It's not as good as the Batman. And I think, well, okay, I was definitely like that with Beware the Bat, though. Admittedly, I'm still not a huge fan of that show.
Yeah.
But I've definitely come around to Brave and the Bold hard because that show is delightful, and I should
Yeah,
have appreciated it
you got to appreciate the campiness of it.
yeah, I
Can
really
I can I just tell you something funny?
what's up?
What you're saying, like you have that like arrogant hate on for Brave and the Bold for a while. For me, growing up like you did with Batman, I grew up with BTOS. I
Yeah.
had that exact same feeling for the Batman when it
Oh
first came out. I was like,
my
this is so
That's
stupid.
hilarious.
The designs are so cartoony and silly. Like, why does Joker look like a goblin? And then I watched it and was like, fuck, I can't deny this is pretty good.
It's a generational thing, clearly.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, no, I get that though. It was a very stylized show, but
yeah,
like that was my fucking show, and it was so perfect because like I was just the right age where I was young enough that I didn't know a ton about Batman, but like I knew enough that I was interested, and it was very much like a ground up kind of thing where, because with BTOS like Robin just kind of shows up, and
yeah.
you're like, oh, okay, I guess he has a sidekick now.
I
But
think that's
they really built this one out where it's like you
yeah,
get the origin of Batgirl, you get the origin of Dick Grayson in the actual show.
yeah. The funny thing about Robin and BTOS though, because I have the DVD box set
Mm.
and it has the episodes listed not in unless you could watch it both ways, not in release order but in creation order.
Oh, okay.
And the very first episode that is on the disc has Robin in it.
Mm.
And I watched it and was like, how the fuck is it? There's no like that can't be true.
Yeah.
There were stories without him.
Well, I remember. Oh my god, it's like my grandma. This would have been the first time I ever had exposure to BTOS. Like my grandma had a VHS tape
Oh, yeah.
of like I don't know, maybe the first 4 episodes of BTOS. I remember that distinctly because she had 2 tapes that I would watch into oblivion. It's like the first 4 episodes of BTOS and the first 4 episodes of Static Shock. So there's like
fantastic show.
there's like those 4 episodes that I've seen a million times. I think that's why I can still quote Pretty Poison to this day because I've just seen it over and over and over. But I think it may have said the first 4, but I know at least one of them was, or at least 2 of them were Pretty Poison, obviously, and then Christmas with the Joker. Or if it wasn't Christmas with the Joker, it was the one where he has like that boat filled with Joker gas and it's making everyone laugh across the city.
Right.
And I think it might actually be that one instead because there's a reason I was quoting "You killed Captain Clown" for years. But I was like, whichever one that was, maybe it was Christmas with the Joker. I can't remember. But Robin just kind of shows up, and I'm like, oh, okay, he's here
Just
now.
here. Yeah.
So I just thought that was kind of funny. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, the Batman, that was my shit.
I think
Every
that's why
time.
people appreciated Tim Drake a lot more in that show because he
Mm.
got a bit more of a fleshed out origin.
Yeah, and like right at the
Let's see
beginning
that.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, every time I could catch Batman versus Dracula, which sounds ridiculous, on like VOD,
Yeah.
man, I was totally gonna watch that shit. I loved that movie.
I was the same with me when it was just on Teletoon in the
Yeah.
middle of the afternoon. It was on. I'm like, oh, there's like 20 minutes left. I'm watching it.
Dude.
So good.
That
Yeah, it's a fantastic show.
But yeah, no, great voice for the Batman. I would put Diedrich Bader definitely top 5, but
Yeah.
that was one that kind of had to grow on me, like I said.
Yeah, it's one that has grown a lot of people, and it's understandable.
Yeah, for sure.
But when it fits the tone of the show so well.
That's the thing, though. I mean, well, it's also just like I do like him as Batman, but I also just like him in general.
Yeah,
Like
no, he's a
Dietrich
funny guy.
Bader is just such a phenomenal actor, both in
Yeah,
and outside of cartoons. And I would not be until years later that I would really appreciate that.
yeah,
But yeah, I would come back to it, and I was like, he did a really good job.
yeah,
And I just loved how like non-condescending that version of Batman was.
yeah. My favorite line, and this is one that always sticks with me. I don't know the context of the story or the criminals or what, but there was a male thug dressed as a woman,
Mhm.
and then he goes, "You wouldn't hit a lady, would you?" And Bader's Batman just goes, "The hammer of justice is unisex," and he punches him right in the face. I'm just like, this is brilliant.
You almost had the voice there for a second. It's pretty good.
Sorry.
Said you almost had the voice there for
Oh
a second.
shit.
Yeah.
Makes me feel good. I love Dietrich Bader. I've loved that guy
Yeah.
since God, I don't remember when I first watched the Drew Carey show, 97,
Oh my
98.
god, yeah. That's
Yeah.
seriously retro.
He was one of my favorite characters back then.
Mm.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
It was like the first time I watched Napoleon Dynamite, whenever that was, some birthday party or something, and I was
Yeah.
like, I know that voice. I recognize that voice.
Right? He was in
Tell me-
Office Space. Have you ever seen Office Space?
I don't think I have.
Oh
He's been
shit,
in like
you
a
gotta watch
million shows. He was in
Yeah.
did you ever watch Veep?
No.
He was
No,
in
I never got
Veep
around to
for
that.
like
That's
2
crazy.
seasons. He was
Really?
I'm blanking on his name right now. He was like a um a campaign manager.
Oh wow.
And like he's not playing anything up. He's not doing a crazy act. Like he's basically just doing his voice just a little bit more fast paced, but like the I guess gimmick of his character is that he's always interrupting people like
Yeah.
before they're supposed to say. It's like a Seinfeld thing where he's saying what they're going to say before they say it.
Yeah.
But oh my god, I wish I could remember the name of his character right now. But he was great in that. He's been like in a million sitcoms. He's everywhere. So great actor.
I'm doing this the wrong way. And just before we move on to it, from it, we can't be talking about Batman voice actors without at least mentioning Will Arnett's name.
Really interesting.
I think so. Like, not that Lego Batman, I think, could really be put in the same tier as the ones we talked about.
Mhm.
But for the work he did as Lego Batman, I think was pretty damn good.
I can't speak so much for the Lego Batman movie, as believe it or not, still haven't seen that.
Oh, really? It's
Yeah.
no, it's good.
But I did see the Lego movie when that came out a million years ago,
Right.
and I thought he was pretty funny in that.
Yeah, and that it's the Lego Batman. Just it makes fun of DC in a classy way, in a way that fans of the characters can laugh along with it.
Yeah, it's not like
Right.
mean spirited.
Yeah, it is meant for kids, but there's humor that adults can enjoy too.
Yeah,
It's
No,
really
that's
well done.
good.
Yeah. Yeah, we went on a big tangent. The last honorable mention is spinning out of God. What was that book called? Justice League Galaxy Special or whatever it was called.
Intergalactic Special or something.
Intergalactic
Galactic
Special, that was
Special.
This is the first issue this week of a 4-week, 1 month long weekly event. Justice League Dream Girls, a DC Pride event, came out today. I also got a chance to read that today before airtime. It spins right out of that Intergalactic Special. Got some interesting stuff going on in it. Dreamer and Galaxy are kind of doing a tour through DC history, taking on the personas of various teams, duos in DC history. The first one obviously was, well, Dreamer became Wonder Woman and Galaxy was just another Themysciran, but then they became Batgirl and Supergirl. And next week at the beginning of number 2, they're going to be Hal Jordan and Oliver Queen.
Oh boy.
Hard traveling hero. What do they call
it? I picked this one up because I saw the tagline at DC Pride event and I was like, that is bold. But there's also again, I still haven't had a chance to read it, but I just was kind of looking through the contents. And there's apparently a backup story with Batwoman from Greg Rucka. So I definitely want to check that one out, see if there's anything they were going to, maybe reflect into the main title.
Well, I'll say that I didn't read it yet, but I'm also not reading Batwoman. That's just me.
Fair enough.
So I don't know anything about the plot, but I do know at the end it says
Heard it here, folks. Heard it here first, folks. Rob is homophobic,
Yes, the bisexual male is homophobic.
Hey, that can happen.
I thought you were gonna say I hate lesbians or something. Just like, I've got friends that are lesbians. No.
Oh my
god. For the record, I'm not homophobic. I do not hate lesbians. I love the LGBT community. As being a member of the community, I love the community. I would not be talking about the Pride books if it wasn't. But no, it does say at the end of the story to be continued in Batwoman. So it does look that story is integral to what's going to be happening in the ongoing.
Lovely.
Yeah. Right, so that rounds out our honorable mentions. Now, the books we're going to be talking about today, I should say we added one last minute at the start of the show. Adventures of Superman, Book of L number 9. This week will be on honorable mentions. If we have a chance next month, we will follow up with number 10. But check it out. It's capping up Philip Kennedy Johnson's years-long Superman epic.
Yeah.
Wrapping it all up in a nice bow. Even tying in with his Jon Stewart stuff, it's all coming together. It's all tying together, becoming one big story, and this is how it's going to end. There's 3 issues left. I can't wait to see how it ends, but I also don't want it to end because that means Philip Kennedy Johnson will not be at DC anymore.
You just had to remind me.
I know. I hate it so much.
You just had to remind. Here he is building what I would call an almost Hickman level development of years long storytelling. That's not hyperbole. Yeah. This shit started in Future State. In the year of our Lord 2021.
Yeah, it's been a 5-year storyline.
Yeah. So we're now just capping off everything that started with the War World saga all the way back then.
Hell, it even technically started with House of L.
Yeah,
and is ending with the House of L.
Very much so,
it's poetic.
Again, it goes traces its roots all the way back to Future State, then through Action Comics, then continuing through Green Lantern War Journal, and now to its conclusion with Adventures of Superman. So it'll be, I think, gorgeous years down the line. I say years down the line as if they haven't already put together a Superman by Philip Kennedy Johnson omnibus, but I think even further down the line, there's going to be an extended version that includes War Journal and the full run of adventures. So you get the complete saga.
Yeah. That would be crazy if they did that. But what would they call it?
They're 100% going to do it. And the reason I say that is because this run is bankable as fuck, to the term I learned from college, because they got this omnibus out within at least a year and a half of that run concluding. I have never... I mean, granted, I haven't been reading comics for 30 plus years, but omnibi have not been in existence for 30 plus years. I have never seen a run get that fast of a turnaround, at least in 15 years. I was shocked.
That is the fastest a run has been collected.
Usually maybe 2 to 3 years, depending on the popularity of the run. They had that one ready to go. And not even just that omnibus, they had a War World compendium ready to go, locked and loaded. So if you just want that story, man, you got it. So
sold.
It's remarkable.
Yep. They saw the sales coming in. They saw the reception while the story was happening, and they told the interns, start compiling the shit now.
Do it.
Get it going.
Get it going.
So we're not wasting any time.
I think the complete run is going to come.
Yeah. But how many pages would that be is the only thing. Because I compendiums, omnibuses, they the most I've seen is maybe 1,200 to 1,400 pages, and that's pretty fucking big.
Yeah. I mean, I
right?
wouldn't be surprised if they split it in two, because it's got a lot
Yeah,
of extra material.
that would
But
probably be the best way to do it. What would they call it? Would they call it like DC Universe by Philip Kennedy Johnson, the Aldrin Saga, House
yeah,
of L?
I think either Superman, World Saga may not work as well. So if not that, then it would either be Superman by Philip Kennedy Johnson, like the full omnibus, and maybe they release a deluxe edition that now collects Green Lantern War Journal and Adventures of Superman, or like you said, they'll just call it Superman: The Ulgrin Saga, and it'll be everything from Future State Superman #1 and House of L all the way up to Adventures number 12.
Yeah,
So
and they need to include War Journal because
yeah,
it's a pretty hefty tie-in at that point.
100%, 100%.
Yeah,
And I imagine there will probably be, some additional stuff, just kind of catching people up on maybe anything else that happened with the what was it? The not old was it Olgren's ring? Like the end of War Journal when his power was condensed into that ring.
yeah, the Dark Star Ring.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, that then what's his face that Derlin got his hands on in Civil Corps. I'm
oh
blanking.
yeah, yeah. But then he kind of fell into a portal at the end of that story, and we still never saw what happened to him.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, maybe you have a blurb that kind of catches people up to speed on that. Because I would say the only kind of trap of maybe collecting War Journal is War Journal does tie directly into Civil Corps. So the question is, do you include that as well because it does have some carryover into that, or do you
It
just keep the
does.
essentials? Or yeah, like I said, you just keep the essentials, do a 1-page write up on what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
Uh, and then move on to adventures.
I mean, the Civil Corps does kind of follow the Dark Star Ring,
Yeah,
but we've yet to find out if that part of its history leads in or is integral to what's going on in Book of L, right? If that has
yeah,
any premise to it at all, or if it's
yeah,
just like that's now we get to see what happened to the Dark Star Ring after War Journal and what happened to it ever since. Because you've read at least a few issues of Book of L,
yeah. Like the
so
first.
he ends up in the future, and
Yeah,
so far
yeah,
the story is still in the future,
yeah.
where the ring shows up. So anything that happened in the past, who the fuck knows?
Exactly. Yeah. Um, yeah. No, I also bring it up because you kind of got a lot of that Olgren backstory, and in fact, I think one of the characters, I'm pretty sure, Bila Esh from Phil Kennedy Johnson's Superman, shows up in the Dark Star, like that sort of negative zone
In
place
that
where
realm,
John is trapped. Yeah, in that realm.
that's you're talking about the story guy, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
So funny story. So I don't know if you remember, I had a theory about that too. He's got a different name from
Yeah.
Warworld Saga and um, War Journal.
Mm.
And I posed that theory a couple of years ago when War Journal was coming out. I was like, is this the same guy? And our buddy Glenn, who at the time had a direct connection, direct link to Philip Kennedy Johnson, texted him and asked him, our friend, this guy that's doing a podcast, got this theory about Bylash and Byla whatever are the same person. And all PKJ says is sort of, but not really. So we don't know yet.
Yeah.
Still. And one of them, I think Bylash has somewhat appeared, but that's it. And that was only, I think, in the first couple of issues.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, could be different aspects of the same
Yeah.
character, something to that effect. But it still reveals an important history of Olgren and his past,
Yeah.
his grief over his daughters, and like all that stuff that I think is relevant and important, just for understanding. Although, again, I could see someone going the route of maybe you don't need the full backstory. Like if we just want to focus on, because this story is essentially the follow up to action in whatever happened to Krillux. Like he was out there, he killed Mongol. Okay, sure. now what?
Yeah,
What does his revenge look like? That's essentially what the whole story is supposed to be, or at least the impetus of the story, from what I can remember. So I would say if you just want to focus on that, that essential part of the War World Saga, I get why maybe you wouldn't want to throw in the War Journal stuff there, because it does go a little deeper into the old gods mythology. But I think it is worth having, especially given how much Olgren's name comes up in the War World Saga, that it would be a
exactly.
disservice not to include that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Right. So if it's not apparent, check out Book of Elf.
Yes.
Fantastic. And if
I'm
I may
talking about
say
it like
so,
I'm caught up. I'm not caught up,
you're
but
not.
I'm
No, you're
excited
still a
to
few
be caught
years
up.
behind. If I may say so, this issue this week, number 9, may be the best of the 12 so far.
It's awesome.
The one that the first one was really good at the end, got me hooked.
Mhm.
This one is my favorite one so far. It was
Awesome.
really well done. But apart from that, we will be full reviewing Absolute Green Lantern number 15, Batman number 10, JSA number 20, Poison Ivy number 45, and The Dead Man number 1, brand new for DC All In.
This is true. Now, before we begin, because we might have skipped things a little bit, I don't want to take up too much time, but did you have any news? Because you did
Yes.
post something a little big today that I
Yeah.
think we all knew was coming, but
Yeah.
I was interested to hear your thoughts about it.
I mean, I
Worst,
don't know.
worst
I don't,
kept secret in
depends,
the industry right now.
depends what you mean by we all knew was coming. Because obviously we knew something was coming, but I don't know which part we knew was coming.
I'm referring to something from the competition, if you will.
Yeah, but do you mean the
in
creative team or the characters?
both?
Both, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, so mild spoilers. He's not really involved, but like the term Bendis was thrown around a lot at Marvel recently. But I don't know if that was really an indication for me that this is what was happening. Just before we get that started, sad news, not necessarily in the comic world, but in the world in general. Today announced the death of what I will call a very legendary actor, Anthony Stewart Head, who many people know from many things like Ted Lasso, Little Britain, Merlin, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We all grew up with Anthony Stewart Head in some capacity. At any point, if you watch television, you will have seen him in something. He was a fantastic actor. He unfortunately passed away today from complications with pneumonia. Damn shame. That one really hurt. I just wanted to shout that out because he was such a good actor.
Rough year for Buffy actors.
Yeah.
In particular. It's just like, what the fuck? What is going
We've
on?
lost Anthony Head. We've lost Nicholas Brendan. We've
Michelle
lost
Trachtenberg.
Michelle Trachtenberg.
I mean,
and
I'm
the
not laughing
reboot got
because it's funny.
canceled.
I'm just like, what is happening?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's a reboot or a sequel of what it was supposed to be, but even it got canceled. The follow-up series. Like,
It's
so,
just
it's not been great for Buffy fans. Yeah.
But anyway, I'm gonna miss you, Giles.
Yeah.
You were always the best mentor the Scooby Gang ever had.
Definitely.
Key roles.
But on a lighter note in the cinematic world, the filming of Man of Tomorrow has begun, and we've already got some set photos and set footage, behind the scenes stuff, including in-suit action for both David Cornsweet as Superman, and the suit looks fairly similar to what we saw in last year's Superman movie, but also Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor in what everybody still calls the war suit or Lex Luthor's battle suit. I will forever call the Lexo suit. It looks fantastic.
I will pretty much exclusively only refer to it as the Lexo suit for now and forever, because I love that word. And I don't know if you coined that or if that's just been floating around, but I love it.
Almost
and it makes so much
heard
sense.
it somewhere.
It is a war suit technically, but like, does every war suit necessarily have specific branding and also a big ass L branded on, the suit itself? And I'm thinking like there was that version specifically from Action Comics 1050 or something recently, and it had it literally had Lex across his chest,
Yeah.
and I was like, that like War Suit doesn't do it justice. It's a Lexo suit.
It's a Lexo suit, and to a certain degree, it is an exosuit as well.
Yeah, very much so.
Lexo suit just makes sense. I'm almost positive I've heard it somewhere, and I did not coin this, but if I did coin it, I will take the credit.
Please, patent that shit.
Oh god, I've been posting it everywhere since the footage dropped this week. Calling it the Lexo suit. I'm just hoping it fucking sticks. I'm hoping James Gunn sees it and puts it in the fucking movie. I don't even need the credit. I just want it used. But it looks fantastic. It's big. It's bulky. It looks like a suit of armor Lex has worn.
The color scheme,
the colors are green and purple. Perfect. The only thing of note is that it does not have a giant L emblazoned on the chest. Instead, it has the Argus logo. From those movies, from that universe. And considering at the end of Superman, and as we saw again in Peacemaker Season 2, he's in prison with Argus and also working with them to a certain capacity to take down metahumans. So it makes sense, if you've been watching that stuff, that he would have a suit that has the Argus logo on it. Where that will put him at the end of the movie remains to be seen. I have a feeling that Argus logo is going to change into a giant L at some point. But
almost
the matter remains, the suit looks awesome.
Yeah. No, the sort of set photos that we've got look great. And like Rob already said, the design is so perfectly reminiscent of what we've seen in the comics, but brought to life just really well. And I love how much they've committed to the bit. Like you said, it's big, it's bulky. They didn't try to make it like sleek or streamlined. It's comically large, and I love it. Lex is going to look ridiculous in it. I'm so happy about that. And so if the premise that people have been throwing around is true, and the two of them are teaming up to face against Brainiac, I'm fucking stoked to see that suit go to town.
Yep. Suit size, I will put somewhere in between like the 80s debut of the suits and DC Universe Online Cinematic, which was comically large.
Yeah.
So somewhere in between that in terms of actual size. Look up the images, look up the little set video. It looks fantastic. If you're a fan of it at all, it's worth a look. One bit of news I don't think I brought up at all, but I've been following it for a few weeks now. Mark Waid, along with some other writers, but specifically Mark Waid and Dan Mora, have worked together to build a TTRPG. Justice League Unlimited, the role-playing game, is coming soon, but it needs to be crowdfunded through this website called GameFound. The crowdfunding has not started yet. They've got it on the page, looking for like interest, and it's already got like over 6,000 followers on it. If you follow it early with your accounts, you can get a free set of customized dice, and it's one of 6 or 7 different types depending on like your favorite hero. Like I've already locked in Green Lantern dice. I'm so fucking stuck. We're not sponsored by this. We're not working with Mark Waid as much as I would love to. I just want to shout this out because it's so freaking cool that it's written by Mark Waid with original art from Dan Mora, and other comic book writers and artists are involved in this too. And they just recently released what they call the quick play version, which is just like a free to download watermarked booklet, so you can't just like post it wherever the hell you want, because they'll find you. To like just get you started on it as a test play. You grab a couple friends. They have some character sheets already built. They have some stories already made, and the rule book in a simplified version. It's maybe 20 pages. You just go and try it out, and then when the funding starts, start.
Lost you for a second.
Wait, what happened? You lost me.
You dropped out. You dropped into the void for like 5 seconds.
Oh, what the hell? That's weird. What was I saying? So yeah, if you do like it, the crowdfunding I've heard starts next month in July. So get on that. That's about as far as I know. I think that's about as
Okay.
much information that has been released. But it's very, very cool looking. I am definitely going to back it. I want to pick it up and get those dice because I want those fucking dice. And then maybe when it actually comes out, probably sometime next year, if we have some time, we can actually get all together on like a Saturday night or something and play TTRPG.
Man, I'm down for that. I was gonna say if I had friends, I would get them together and I would do a quick like night campaign, you know, like do in high school or something. Like just put on something that we could finish in like a couple hours.
I had the quick play booklet as well already downloaded, so we can even, if we have any free time, even soon.
Whoever wants to DM that shit, you know, let us know.
Yeah,
and
I mean, I don't mind trying DMing. I've never DM'd before, but like, I have the booklet, so I may as well try it.
I was gonna say, the beauty of us all being turbo nerds is we don't have to worry about buying figures to represent our characters.
Already have them.
If it's like, oh, I want to play as Nightwing or as Green Lantern today, let me just dig through the
pull it off my shelf there.
Exactly. See what I got going.
Thundercrackers attacking Metropolis.
Yep. So that's awesome, though. I remember you posted that a week ago or so, and I thought it was pretty cool. I think I said the same thing. I was just like, that'd be a great like night campaign or day campaign with some friends.
Yes, we'll definitely try and get that going. That'd be great for the YouTube channel. Just saying.
And at some point, if you wouldn't mind sharing that book too, because I'm also curious, like, what kind of scenarios they're offering. Like, is it just is it predetermined stories? I guess not like the full story, but
like it gives you the basis of the
plot.
Yeah,
and then you
I
just
haven't
sort of
read it all myself yet. I haven't gone through it fully detailed. But from like just flipping through it, that's what it looks like. It just gives you like a basic scenario, and you fill in the blanks yourself.
Because I was curious, like what are some of the scenarios that they developed, like these original scenarios that they cooked up? Because that's the kind of thing where I feel like we could have some fun with that. Not even necessarily waiting until the full thing comes out, and then we can maybe try building out one for ourselves. But
exactly.
It's awesome.
I can send you the file, but at the same time, like also it's free to download. Like you don't need to buy anything.
Well, I don't even know where the link is. So, I think you posted.
Yeah, I posted it. That's did I post it twice?
I can't remember.
No, maybe not. Maybe not. Anyway, and just another side thing in the gaming world, there was a state of play from Sony the other day, which included some extended gameplay from the upcoming Wolverine game from Insomniac, which got us our first full look at actual gameplay, at the graphics of what the game will look like and act like. It is a lot bloodier than I expected, and if it is too much blood for you, there is a filter to turn it off. But it looks fantastic. I want to say it's a lot like the Arkham series, but it's actually a lot closer, obviously, to the Insomniac Spider-Man games, but you're playing as Wolverine instead.
Yeah. So it's I'm assuming got that open world component.
Yeah. It's hard to really tell because the gameplay we saw looked like a linear level to a degree, at least the portion they were showing. It was with Logan in some kind of forest pier area trying to save some mutants from being taken by some agents. And Jean Grey was there.
There you go.
To help him out. But it was a very kind of linear campaign at the same time, because they even like swapped over to like a road section in a motorcycle chase. So it didn't look very open world in comparison to Spider-Man, but we'll have to see still. It does take place in the same universe as those Spider-Man games, but it is also a world where apparently the X-Men do not exist yet.
Interesting. Okay.
Very interesting. So
I
maybe by the end of the story,
what that could mean, especially if like you said, Jean Grey is in this game, but there's no X-Men connection.
No, I mean, she shows up in like a black trench coat. Not like a battle suit in the slightest.
Right, yeah. Huh.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
I wonder if that lead into, oh my God, an X-Men
game?
I don't even want to go down that road. Start salivating.
Can I like up the ante a little bit.
No,
Can you
please.
imagine? There's an
Spare me.
Motive is making an Iron Man game that's yet to come out. We have, I thought there was a Blade game coming out too. There's Rise of Hydra in 1942 supposed to come out. And even though these are all very different games, what if, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Iron Man, Rise of Hydra, which features Captain America and Black Panther, they all come together and we get a better Avengers than we got from Square Enix.
I was gonna say, I was like, that's the danger of having a team game is you don't want to fall into that trap because goddamn, that game was a disappointment.
Yeah, I played through the whole campaign, but it was not great.
Yeah.
Though I'd maxed out Iron Man, I'm not ashamed to admit
I just want a playable Cyclops and Nightcrawler, and also Colossus, and maybe a million other mutants. I'm not asking for a lot. I mean, I am asking for a lot, but I'm not asking for a lot.
Yeah.
So I can just have that
those
before
three,
I leave this
and
earth.
Beast, and Angel,
Ugh.
and Iceman.
So
Bobby needs more love. I don't care.
Iceman is fucking awesome, and
he is.
More people need to realize that he's also an Omega level mutant.
Yeah, he's evolved.
Yeah,
he went from a guy that looks like a snowman to now he can create ice version copies of himself. He looks like a freaking crystallized person.
Like I always point to this. There is a story arc from Astonishing X-Men where Bobby literally puts New York City in a chokehold because his ice powers basically have no upper limit to the point where he could freeze the entire city, create an ice behemoth version of himself, and the X-Men were fucked.
Yeah.
If he let loose, it would be borderline unstoppable.
Yeah.
So his power level is already ridiculously off the charts. But he's also just a great character.
He is.
Much like Beast, it should not be that difficult to get it right. And yet...
No. Well, I'll say, I know you haven't been reading the newer X-Men stuff, but since they brought the old Beast back, it's been a lot better.
Yeah, that makes me cautious, because every time Beast has some semblance of normality, they always find a way to fuck it up. That's when I start getting
it's been 30 issues so far. He's been pretty solid.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that dark Beast to rear its ugly head.
Well,
both literally and
evil Beast is still around.
Yeah.
He's not dead yet. And he's apparently hunting the old Beast. So we'll have to see what happens. But aside all that, we'll get to the news that you thought I was starting with, but I got you, didn't I?
Actually, before I get into that, it was funny you had mentioned Mark Waid and Dan Mora doing this crowdfunding campaign, and it did remind me of something I read like 3 days ago, which I was kind of surprised by. But this is not the only crowdfunding campaign that Mark Waid is involved in, actually. There's a little book that came out about, 26 years ago initially, that was then re-released like 3 years later, and has sort of been stagnant, I would say maybe since the mid-2000s. This is a book called Empire, which Mark Waid worked on with artist Barry Kitson. We did a number of projects with, obviously, the Brave and the Bold stuff, JLA Year One, but it was sort of their take on like this oppressive future that's governed by this empire, and it was pretty solid. I remember reading that first 6-issue miniseries a few years back. I was like, this is interesting, when I was really trying to dig into some of Mark Waid's more obscure stuff. And then I think they did a sequel. I don't know if I've ever read that one. I don't know how good it is, but I saw recently that he's doing a deluxe edition of, I think, if not the 6-issue series, the whole series on Kickstarter or Indigo or something like that. Worth checking out. It seems like there's going to be some new material in there, probably a new forward and all that stuff. But I was like, yeah, I'm glad he's still has an interest in that series, and maybe there's more in the future if they're interested. So check it out. I gotta see where that link is. I'm pretty sure it's live, and I think it's been fully funded at this point.
Right on.
If you want to support it and get yourself a copy, go for it.
Yeah, may as well. Mark Waid and Barry Kitson, hell of a team.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the most, like, I would say definitely iconic teams of that sort of like mid to late 90s period. They were on a lot of books together. surprisingly, actually. And like, actually, mid to late 90s doesn't really do it justice, because they would kind of keep coming back to work together, even beyond just JLA Year One, and then, Flash, Green Lantern. Like, they did Legion together. They did the continuation of that, the Superhero and the Legion of Superheroes run. Like, they did a number of stuff together. So they must just like working together. I don't know. They just have a great relationship, but very solid team right there.
Very much so. All right, so our final announcement, and then before we get into the books, you and I had a conversation started before the show that I figured we should just finish off, because you asked me a question, I never answered it.
Yeah.
Right, so I came across on Instagram today. Marco Cicchetto is at least the person I saw announced it. I imagine Chip Zdarsky has also announced it. Coming in November, they will be taking over the Avengers book with a brand new #1. Chip Zdarsky writing with Marco Cicchetto.
Surprise.
Right?
A book nobody saw coming, obviously.
All right. With a brand new Avengers lineup. And this is the most interesting part for me, because what a few of us, at least you and Kirk, had called it initially, and I saw good people calling it in the comment section as well. The Bendis Avengers are back, because this lineup includes Carol Danvers, Daredevil, Luke Cage, Wolverine, and Spider-Man.
I mean, it is
so far on the first cover that was shown today.
Barring Captain America, Iron Man, and Spider-Woman, it is essentially the same line, and not even just the same lineup from New Avengers, like the initial arc of New Avengers, which is why I was like laughing, because literally it's sitting on my desk right now, because I was I don't know why I started thinking about the Bendis Avengers run, but I pulled this off my shelf. This is the New Avengers Epic Collection. And I was like, dang, I haven't read Breakout in a while. I should give that another read. And sure enough, the announcement comes out today with essentially the same lineup from that initial arc where Daredevil was on the whatever that prison was called. So very, very interesting timing with that. But honestly, not a huge surprise, given, I think, Chip's affinity for these characters, but also just some of the characters that have been prominently featured in like all the preview images for Avengers Armageddon, the event that's starting next week, if you can believe it.
Yeah.
So it made sense to me. And I think people have kind of been speculating, like, is this going to be a team without Captain America and Iron Man? Is it just going to focus on these like 5 prime characters? I think for now that's going to be the case. But given that Chip is literally writing Captain America, I think it's highly likely that some Captain America, may not be Steve, some Captain America will join the team. Because I was paying very close attention to a lot of the sort of teasers that we were getting for Avengers Armageddon. And I noticed that Steve isn't really featured, but Sam is. So I would not be surprised if he ended up leading the team again.
Have you caught up to Zdarsky's Captain America?
I'm 2 issues behind, I think.
Okay. Because I'll say there is a reason why he's not been featured in Armageddon, and I will not spoil that for you, but there's definitely, considering how the last issue ended, there's definitely a reason he's not featured in it. Which I also find interesting, because his title was one of 2 titles that had the banner Armageddon begins in X amount of weeks. Or months.
Yeah.
That and Wolverine Armageddon.
Yes.
Armageddon, whatever it was called. That 4-issue.
Yeah, which I also still need to read.
Oh yeah. That leads directly into it. So I would say read that before you read Armageddon.
Okay, great.
If you're interested in it.
Yeah.
Because it also features David, whatever his name is.
Oh, David Colton.
David Colton, yeah.
I can remember that, but I can't remember Superman's fucking mom.
It's more recent. I will forever call him, and I don't know if this is in taste or not, the 9/11 Captain America.
It's not wrong, though.
It's not wrong.
It's very fair.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious to me, because, again, you go back to that 2002 run, and Steve is the 9/11 Captain America. So sliding timeline is very funny in that way.
Like I said, sliding timeline is always the thing.
But yeah, no, you're not wrong.
I mean, he was also based off the story that Zdarsky wrote. he also was defrosted not
Yeah.
long after that,
I
or
I
shortly before that,
I do
something
have
like
to
that.
wonder though, because David Colton is um, maybe not like other characters whose age can be a little bit more nebulous. I do have to wonder, like, 20 years from now, assuming he's a character that is still around and doesn't die, if someone were to bring him back, a la like U.S. Agent or something,
Right,
is it going to be like some unnamed American tragedy that happened, or are they still going to keep with 9/11 and just make him super old?
right.
Because I
Yeah,
guess it happened when he was a
that'd be
kid,
interesting.
so it fits now, right? Like, let's say he's, I don't know, like 7 or 8 or 10 or something in 9/11. Like, it would make sense that as a young adult, Steve Rogers would have been becoming active around the time when he's now Captain America and has gone through his whole experimental procedure and everything. But I don't know. I think about that stuff sometimes too when it's a little bit more modern.
Yeah. Oh, gets me excited about the future to see what could potentially happen.
Yeah.
I'll say, like, I like David Coulson as a character so far. I think as a pseudo Captain America is definitely, I think, well done, well written. Um,
Mm,
Not to the point like U.S. Agent or Nuke or anything like that. Any of these other Captain America clones that are just kind of like flawed, um, or unnecessary. David Colton, even though he has his flaws and he does have his level of unnecessariness, um,
mm,
also feels a lot better.
yeah.
Feels more human and feels like he might have earned it a bit better, you know?
Interesting.
So I do hope that character has some staying power.
We'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Maybe he'll be
Yeah.
on the Avengers.
Maybe he will be
Maybe.
the Captain America of the Avengers. Wouldn't that be
Maybe.
hilarious?
That would be something.
That would be something.
Yeah. Now I'll say
Honestly,
one more
not a bad
about this series. The context clues I'm getting from it, apart from the cover of these five heroes, obviously standing among some rubble and a pile of skulls. It does come out in November, which, if my math is right, should be somewhere around the end of Armageddon. But the header is also Earth's Mightiest Survivors.
Yeah.
So I think it definitely will be leading out from Armageddon, be spinning out of that. So we'll have to see what happens. They're obviously going to keep some stuff close to the chest as Armageddon has not officially started yet. Like you said, next week will be issue 1. So we'll
This
have
is
to see
true.
what happens.
But yes, it does seem to be kind of following up on some post, I don't want to say apocalyptic, but some kind of post disaster setting. So whatever that happens to be, we'll have to stay tuned to Avengers Armageddon to see what might be the cause.
Yeah.
But this is interesting. I think at least, like, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, there's been a lot of I think frustration with the lack of cohesion in Marvel's line. You've been freaking Marvel's biggest defender over here, talking about how good the books have been.
Yeah, I've been
I
pleasantly surprised.
Yeah,
As
I've
somebody
been a
that
little.
fell off.
I know.
Sorry.
I've been a little bit more ambivalent, with the exception of the Ultimate stuff. Like, just nothing has really grabbed my attention, with the exception
Yeah.
of a few titles here and there. But it'll be, I think, good to see them maybe have a little bit more cohesion aligned, and hopefully this will breathe some new life into the Avengers, and I think by extension the rest of the Marvel universe. Because I feel like whenever one of their flagship books does well, it creates a ripple effect that kind of carries over into the rest of the Marvel lineup, so you can kind of start to do a little bit more exciting things.
Yeah.
That and I mean, again, I don't want to say this necessarily proven as fact, but like, my reference point is always House of X. They got a huge upswing of attention from that, and suddenly there was like a million other spin-off books that they could do. Not even just X-Men books, like just Marvel books in general.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, suddenly we have the bandwidth to do that. So
Right.
yeah, I'm hoping this will be that. And if it really is taking such a heavy inspiration from the Bendis Vengers, I'm hoping it will lean into the team dynamics of that era. Because for me, like, that's what made the team.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
stories were good for the most part, but like, it was that lineup and the sort of dynamics that were formed in that era that really made it special.
Yeah. Like nobody would have ever guessed Luke Cage being an Avenger.
Yeah,
But there he was. Day
Luke
one.
Cage, Wolverine, and Spider-Man, like those are your
Yeah.
Avengers. Okay,
Yeah.
but
Spider
it
Woman, like
worked.
way out of
Yeah,
left field.
way out of left field.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if it worked once, here's hoping it can work again, maybe
Yeah.
with a different twist in terms of the story. And like I said, I don't think this is going to be the full final roster, so we'll see where it
No.
goes.
No, there's no way it's limited to just 5 people.
Yeah.
Unless the
Unless.
Avengers are dead.
Ha! Wouldn't that be something?
That can't be. Iron Man's got a good book right now. Yeah, I'll say this: like when it comes to Marvel right now, for me, I think what's really drawn me in again, apart from like I'm just trying books and just like, oh shit, this is actually pretty good, is that each book is kind of just doing its own thing. It's telling stories about these characters, as character-driven stories, and it's not bogged down by a universe-bending continuity. Like Hawksbox, multiple books were being, even outside of the X-Men books, were being affected by what was happening in House of X and like that whole era of the Krakoan era. Like Iron Man was a big book that was part of that whole era as well.
Yeah.
It just had a huge girth. Hickman's Avengers stuff like affected multiple books, and like that seemed to be the trend for Marvel, is that when something huge was happening, it affected the entire line, save for maybe a couple here and there. But right now, it's like they're getting back to basics. Like Spider-Man is telling Spider-Man stories. Iron Man's about Iron Man. Fantastic Four is doing Fantastic Four stuff. X-Men's doing X-Men stuff. It's all separate, but it's all still in that same universe. So like they'll make some mentions here and there, some references, like the Spider-Man was up in space that time. Fantastic Four are living in Arizona or wherever they are. And they could do that, but it's not like you need to read Fantastic Four to understand Iron Man kind of deal.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need that. You can read one and enjoy that, and that's it.
I would say, and maybe it's not even just completely a lack of cohesion, but I feel like at least the argument that I've seen is there's nothing exciting, right? Like there's nothing that's technically, well, I don't want to say there's nothing technically bad. There's a few things that are not great, but like a lot of this stuff is pretty solid. And people are like, yeah, it's good. Like even people who were kind of against the Uncanny book seemingly have come around to it. I still have not really checked that out, but it seems like Gail Simone has really kind of come into her own on that one. And it's like, there's nothing, again, there are definitely some books that are not great, but you know, some of those bigger ones are not necessarily bad. They're not as exciting or getting as much buzz as some of the other ones. Now, is that entirely indicative of their quality? Not necessarily. You know, they might just be really good. Nobody's paying attention. But it just feels like the excitement isn't there, you know, and it's not like people are like, oh man, you got to be reading, you know, Daredevil right now. You have to be reading Iron Man. You have to be reading Captain America. It's just like they're good, you know, but they're not
buzzworthy kind of deal.
Yeah. Like when you're hearing people talk, like it's, you know, how great the Absolute stuff is, or, you know, how great Nightwing has been, or how great like this book or that book. And it just feels like it's not getting that same level of buzz. And I think it needs something to just kind of excite the line a little bit. So.
Yeah, it's funny you say, because like I've been that guy. Like you said, I've been one of the biggest defenders of Marvel recently, and like I've been that guy that's been trying to buzz these books up. And I feel like I've been the only one on the internet doing it, because everywhere I look, people have been like saying, "Oh, X-Men's so boring," or "Oh, another Iron Man." I was like, fucking great. I get excited every time a new issue comes out. And I'm happy that, like you said, Gail Simone's Uncanny is getting that buzz now. Like I sent a YouTube short last week or the week before about somebody talking about all the stuff Uncanny and Objectiveless has been doing.
Yeah. No, I mean it's
30 issues deep at this point. They're really fucking good.
No, I mean it's like I said, it's kind of sounds like it's come into its own. That's one that I I dropped off way early because I was just like, I'm not feeling it. And I definitely still have my Krakoa blues. But I don't know. I mean, there's a part of me that kind of agrees where I'm just like, Iron Man is good, Captain America is good, Fantastic Four always does its thing, but like when I finally get the chance to read my books to catch up with stuff, I never really walk away from it like, oh hell yeah, I can't wait for the next one. It's like it's good. I look forward to reading the next one, but it's not blowing my mind. And I do wish there was at least one book in the lineup that was kind of doing that. Ultimates was
Right.
that book, and now it's gone.
It's gone.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I,
I need something.
if I can give it even just one more push, another thing I think I might be explaining it the same way, but in a new fashion. A lot of these books for me are getting back to basics. You have
Mm,
Captain America is doing like missions for the American government, working in foreign nations, doing like soldier stuff. Iron Man is doing like he's fighting classic villains like Blizzard, and he's going up against Whitney Frost and AIM, and he's building stuff. It's back to basics Iron Man. It's not like,
yeah.
oh, here's another company trying to take over Stark Unlimited. No, it's like back to like Iron Man basics. Even Spider Man to a certain degree is fighting symbiotes again. Like um,
Well, oh
Fantastic
man,
Four is a science book, right?
yeah.
It's gotten back to how it was initially, and not in a bad way where they're just like that. Oh, that new shit doesn't matter. Like they're bringing the old style into a new world.
Right. I was like, you talk about Spider Man, and I'm like, that is one that just keeps breaking my heart because it's never great, you know.
Yeah,
And people were like, it's getting better, and
yeah,
I'm like, yeah, but it's still
but
not great. It's like fine. And like the funny thing is people are saying that like the run was shit to begin with. It wasn't. It was
no,
fine. It just
yeah,
wasn't great. And like I just haven't had a it's not even that my expectations are that high, I don't think. It's just like I haven't had a Spider-Man book that really had me pumped since COVID, and that like breaks my heart.
yeah. Like if
So
I'll
I
say this, the most recent, like the last two issues since Death Spiral ended, I'm starting to get the vibe where it is slowly swinging up, unintended, to that moment where, like you described, it's going to be great,
I
right? It'll
hope so.
feel
I don't
like
know.
because it's
You're
getting
maybe a
back to
little more
like a classic
optimistic than I
Spider-Man
am.
story,
Yeah, because
right? And it,
I think I picked up issue 30 because it was like the first time I saw something that looked somewhat normal. It's
yeah,
like,
and that's exactly it's getting back to like a basics again.
yeah, and I was like, okay, this is fun, but this feels like I don't know if I picked up an issue of Web of Spider-Man from 1984, written by Bill Mantlo, which
Right?
again is fine. That would give you a great book to read while you're sitting on the toilet, but it's just not blowing me away.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just like, and maybe this is why like I don't want to be mean, but like I think
It's
how do I say
Spider-Man. He can take it.
I know I'm like no, I'm just like how do I say this in a way where like I don't come across as a huge dick, but
We've
I
known you for many years now. There's
oh
no way you
god.
come across as a huge
Yeah.
dick.
Okay. I'm just gonna say it. I think this is why Spider-Man needs those ancillary titles because
Mm,
oh my god. Okay. I think there are certain writers that just should not be writing the main title and they should be
yeah,
writing secondary titles because they're good at the B tier stories. I'm
Zach
sorry
Wells.
to put
Zach
it like
Wells.
that, but I'm just like I don't know any other way to say it. And
Yeah.
nothing but respect to Joe Kelly, but I'm like if this shit were like 1986, your ass would be writing Web of Spider-Man or Spectacular. Like this is like a B tier story, and not even a bad B tier story, like a solid B tier story. But it's just
yeah.
not an exciting, amazing Spider-Man story, is what I'm getting at.
I,
So
I'm
I'm just like, we need to run back the era where they had like that roster of three. They probably
yeah.
can't support it now because Marvel cancels their books after 5 issues, like it's
It's fucking
freaking
stupid.
Tuesday. But like,
Imperial Guardians is actually pretty freaking good too.
yeah, they just I think they need that because it's like, okay, here's and I also say it too because I'm thinking of that era where I was regularly reading the Spider-Man titles and I was like, okay, Amazing Spider-Man is I'm loving it. You know, Nick Spencer is doing a great job at the time. And if I want to read something that's like okay, but it'll fill my spider fix for the week, I have Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man coming out next week.
Right.
And Tom Taylor will do a serviceable job and I'll read it. I'll have a good job, and then I'll go to my next class and I'll be good. Like
Yeah.
I'll get my spider fix for the week, so we're good. I think you need that because and I say that also very intentionally too, because like when you have one Spider-Man book, all your expectations are on that book. But when you have a few B, C tier hitters that are kind of doing their job, the pressure's off the main book a little bit. So it's like, okay, maybe the main book is not the best, but you have a couple other ones that are doing a solid job, and I can just kind of spread my love throughout that as opposed to just dumping it all on one book. Like
Yeah.
if everything I'm reading for Spider-Man is entirely relegated to Amazing Spider-Man, that means all my expectations are on that book instead of being spread out across like 3 books. So I'm even harsher on it than I might be if it had a little bit more leeway. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Do you count Venom as a spider book at this point?
I don't.
Okay. I
I
don't think most people would.
I think it's a bit of a stretch because I know how connected it's been to the Spider books for like the
Yeah.
past few years, but I just it very much feels like it's doing its own thing.
Fair enough. Now, I will say there is an actual other spider book out right now. Issue 2, I think, just came out last week called Spider-Versity.
Oh,
I
really?
don't know if you've heard about it. And
No.
it did spin out of what was going on in Amazing Spider-Man, but I believe it's a different writer.
Mm.
And it is like all the other spider characters. Like you have Erana, you have Ghost Spider, Miles Morales, Spider Woman, roughly, Spider Boy, and Spider Girl, and Silk are all being
Jesus
trained
Christ.
by Norman Osborn to be better spiders. Spider Woman is
Okay.
not being trained by Norman. She's actually one of the people helping to guide these younger people. But
Right.
Norman is the one that started. He bought like a university and turned it into a training camp for these young spider people to hone their powers and be like Peter Parker or even surpass him.
So Avengers Academy, but with spider
Spiders. Yep,
characters.
basically.
Oh boy.
Spider-Versity is in Spider University.
Ah, man.
Yep.
I mean, an
2
interesting
issues
premise,
in,
I
it's not
guess.
bad.
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
I'm not completely sold on that one.
No, it's such a
And
wild out there pitch, but
yeah.
I don't hate it. It's not nothing to write home about either.
Hmm.
It's serviceable.
Yeah. It just like I also I saw something that broke my heart recently because it's like a further indictment of the spider line. I don't know how closely you looked at this, but when I was in the comic shop like a month ago, maybe 2 weeks ago or so, I saw they were doing, I kid you not, flashback comics for Brand New Day, like the Brand New Day
Yeah,
era
yeah,
with Dan Slott, and I was
yeah.
like, "Oh my god!" Like if this
I've
isn't a sign of
avoided
the
that one
times,
like the
I'm
plague.
just I like that is so depressing to me. One of the most, and I'm not even saying it's entirely warranted because I think history will show there's some okay stuff from the Brand New Day era. A lot of it
Yeah,
is not good, but there is
no,
some stuff that I will defend.
yeah.
Um, and
The
looking
Gauntlet
back,
was actually a
I
pretty good story.
yeah, looking back, I shit on it endlessly. But again, I've had my hater phases.
Most
But
people would.
I'm
Don't
just
get me
like,
wrong.
of all the thing, and I know they have the movie coming out, so you just need the title on fucking anything. But I'm just
Yeah,
like, of all the eras to go back to, like,
yeah.
okay, I get going back to the '80s. I get going back to the black suit era. I get going back to the Big Eyes McFarlane era. I even get going back to the Straczynski era, which I'm shocked they haven't done yet. But
Well,
of
they
all
did
the
technically.
ones,
They had Straczynski doing that mini.
Well, that was actually set in Peter's past. I thought that's what it was going to be, but it turns out it was just it was another one of that, just written by Straczynski. Like it's a
Oh, okay, fair enough.
flashback to like
Right.
his ESU
Another
days,
era. Okay.
basically. Yeah.
Right.
But I'm like, of all the ones, you choose arguably the least popular.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I really don't. Like aside from the name, I just don't get why.
Right, they had a
So
Battleworld Redux. They had a Civil War look back, and now Brand New Day was the one that just made me go, "What the fuck
I'm
are they
just like,
doing?"
what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, is it gonna be like? And the reason it scares me even more is I'm like, is it gonna be 10 years from now, and they're gonna be doing the same kind of flashback comic for the Zeb Wells run? Like, is that where we're gonna be? Is that just the
Please
state of
no,
things?
no.
So I'm just like, something's got to change, and I've been pounding my head against the wall, trying and hoping and praying that the Spider Office will get its shit together. And like, if you're really gonna do a back to basics approach, like let's just do what worked best. Okay, you have 3 books, right? Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man, that's your heavy hitter. That's
Yeah,
the crowd pleaser, right? Like that's the one everyone wants to read. Get the best fucking team you could possibly imagine, or get a team that nobody would anticipate is going to be good. Set the expectation low and watch them surpass that. 2 approaches, right? For the Amazing Spider-Man book, and see what happens. For the 2 ancillary titles, get I don't care who you get. Get 2 solid middle of the road writers who will deliver consistent stories. That book will sell at a basic bottom line, and I guarantee you that shit can go for 50 issues untouched. Because there's an audience who will just buy it because it's Spider-Man. And if it's serviceable, it'll sell, right? History has proven that like you put the name on the book, it will sell. Some people will check it out. But if you make it just good enough that like people will come back, like, oh, that was good, I'll come back next month. If you can do that consistently, month to month, that's your pocket money right there. So I'm like, if you were to craft an approach to make the Spider books sell, for me, that's what you do, right? You have the solid books that sell, and you have the one that is consistently just above and beyond phenomenal. I
yeah,
can't speak for creative teams. I have ideas of who that would be, but like you can get anyone that'll fill that role. You know what I mean?
exactly.
So, oh my god, this always happens. Stop talking about Spider-Man. You need to stop bringing up Spider-Man.
I can't help
Actually,
it
might have been my
sometimes.
fault. I just
It's
like
fun.
I always say I'm done, and then I start talking for fucking 30 minutes, and I just like even I guess I'm shocked at how passionate I get about it. Because sometimes I'm just like, man, I don't even care about Spider-Man. Like, there's so many other Barry characters. Like, I don't really give a fuck. And then here I am going on this long ass fucking tirade about of this whole thing. So
It's hard not to care sometimes.
I like clearly I care more than I let on. Like when you
Yeah,
say you don't care, but you really care.
yeah,
Like it
exactly.
clearly bothers me more than I realize that I'm not reading Spider-Man. It really does. So yeah, there you go.
Like that's what I was gonna say before though, is that if you wanted to even just try and hop on from like literally, I think it's number 28 or 29
Yeah,
is the issue after Death Spiral, and I can just fill in gaps that you need from there
that
if need
is
be.
like kind of what I've been doing. It's not the first time I've done that before. Like I remember when Dan Slott was doing Parker Industries, and I was like, I don't give a fuck about this. When that ended and it kind of picked up with Pete going back to the Daily Bugle, that was sort of where I was like, okay, I can do this again, even though it wasn't great. So I kind of been doing that. Like again, I picked up issue 30 or whenever that was because it was just like clean break for the most
Yeah,
part. Um, but I don't know. I will loosely follow it, where I can. Lord knows I don't need to be adding more to my pull list, but
yeah,
I'm just like, just give me something. I just like I want to be in love, and I'm not in love. I don't
yeah,
even. It's been so long. I like have forgot. It's been so long. It's gotten to that point where I'm like, genuinely, there are moments where I'm like, maybe I don't even like Spider-Man as a character. Like maybe I just don't even give a fuck. Like maybe he just sucks. Or just like it's been so long since I felt that passion, but I don't know. I don't know. I know it's not true, but I don't know. Sometimes it feels that way.
Yeah, I get that.
I have to like go back and
Sometimes you just
remind
never
myself.
know.
Yeah. So
You just need that attempt.
I need something. I need
Yeah.
something. Anyway, this has gone on for
Yeah, we've
long.
been going for a while.
Okay.
I was gonna, so we were gonna talk about my Green Lantern challenge and where I'm at right now, but we could do that another time.
Yeah. For the sake of time, we probably should move
Yeah.
on.
I think
Um,
I don't remember what the question was you were asking me, but I
uh,
think to answer, yeah, I think I remember roughly what it
yes.
was.
It was basically just like if there's any distinctions between writers on these various Golden Age stories that you've been reading. Because I was just like, I was just curious because I know they're all kind of writing to the same formula. A lot of it is very similar to the point where maybe there's points where you can't even really tell it apart. But I'm curious if you've noticed any subtle differences.
So what I can say about that, it's less about um, differences. Yeah, you're asking if I noticed any differences about like Alan Scott's characterization, and it's
Yeah.
less
Or even
about
stories or
that,
anything. Mm,
but it's definitely like the quality of the story and the subject matter definitely
mm.
changes. Like Robert Kanigher has been, at least where I'm at now, has been fairly new to the runs,
Okay.
and a lot of his have been uh more like a modern day, like he's introduced a lot of the modern supervillains,
Okay.
right? John Broome, when he came in and took over a lot of the Alfred Bester stuff, a lot of it was a lot more out there, a lot more imagination put into it. Alfred Bester was during the era that I was bored with non-stop mob bosses.
Yeah.
Um, and I'll give him this kudos, like he found a way to make it different each week, each month, each quarter, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but it was nonstop the same shit. Um, and hell, I don't even remember who was writing it in the first place. Bill Finger.
Finger. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, that was just like classic. He had his way with it. It was definitely his own style. I can't really put a point as to what it is,
Mm.
his style like, but it's what it was.
Yeah,
Uh,
I always wanted to
it
go
was
back and oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, that was it. I was just saying it wasn't bad.
I was gonna say I always wanted to go back and compare some of that because I've not read the Green Lantern stuff to the extent that you have, but definitely was curious to compare some of those early stories that he did on Green Lantern with some of his Batman material. See if there's any differences there. Not even just literally because they're different characters, but seeing if he's approaching the story a little differently because they're both, they kind of fit that pulp thriller vibe. But I'm, I'm wondering if there's anything a little bit more experimental. So I'd have to go back and look, but I was
Yeah,
just curious. Yeah, I didn't know, and I'm guessing that'll be more pronounced once you finally break free of the golden age and get back even to the silver age, because I think there's definitely going to be some differences there that you've already picked up on, because I think you got to like 40 or something. How deep
yeah.
did you get?
Number 40 is my next one for the Silver Age.
Yeah, yeah, you were pretty deep into it, as I recall, and yeah, I imagine that's only going to become more pronounced once uh, who's off that book once Denny O'Neil takes over. Is it John Broome?
No,
I
John
think.
Byrne started it,
Yeah,
unless he
John
did.
Broome or Gardner Fox, whoever gets replaced with at some point in the seven. I know obviously it's issue 76, but um, yeah, something like that. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm not
no,
sure.
interesting to hear that.
Yeah, we'll find out. Get this out. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So yeah, with that, we will get
At
into our
last.
books. Yeah, finally.
Really?
Sorry, 1 second. Yeah, fuck, I'll do that after. So where are we starting off? Yeah, okay, we'll get right into Absolute Green Lantern. Oh, that's Green Arrow. Oops, hang on. I misclicked. Is Absolute Green Lantern number 15. I can find. Oh my god! I hate when they put the credits page at the end of the issue. Yes, episode 15, Power Struggle, written by Al Ewing with art from Sid Coetian, colors from Pressy, letters from Lucas Catoni, and the cover from Janoy Lindsay. We pick up kind of in the middle of the giant fight that started in space last month. Guy Gardner, Hal Jordan, and John Stewart have taken on the Dark Stars, Black Stars, whatever they're called, the black end of the light spectrum. And they're doing what they can, but John Stewart also gets a bit of a revelation about his power with the golden light, the yellow light of the spectrum, that his abilities, his level of the spectrum is less about combat, even though it is maybe the most powerful. It is more of an observer role. Um, he can't be touched, he can't be affected, but he also can't affect other things either. It's very much about control of the self as opposed to anything else. Um, where Guy Gardner is able to showcase off his own power sets, as we also see later on inside the Green Lantern ship in the fight between Tomar Ray and Tomar Joe. The red level of light is about control of the self physically. And we see Guy Gardner able to literally open up his stomach, pull his intestines out, form them into a cannon, and spit stomach acid at Salak, the Black Star, right in his face. Fucked up shit. Hydrochloric acid to the face. Meanwhile, Hal is with the violet level of light, which is not part of the spectrum whatsoever. It is an anomaly, and he does not know what the hell he's to do with it. But then we get inside the Green Lantern ship where Tomar Ray and Tomar Joe are duking it out. And Ray is just kind of wiping the floor with Joe to begin with because he has had longer bouts with his light. He knows more about it. He knows how to control it more. And even more so than we saw with Guy, he can make constructs. He can make figments of imagination. He can change reality around them. He has full control over it, as he basically taught himself. But just as he gets Joe kind of down, Joe showcases her own power with her own lights and the true power of the green level of lights. And her being a Tomar as well, she's learning as she goes. She's learning things that I don't think even Abin Sur knew about. So she is able to almost turn herself into a being of pure will, much like we saw in that opening arc of Hal and Pals with Hal Jordan. And just quite literally bird cages Tomar Ray, takes him down for the count. And then they are trying to figure out what to do next, or at least she's trying to figure out what to do next. The whole time, Tomar Ray and Tomar Joe are fighting back and forth about why they're flying off into space. She needs to save Earth, and Tomar Ray has taken the people of their hometown. I forget the name of the hometown. Their spirits are within the Green Lantern ship.
Is it Everclear?
Is
it Everclear? Is Everclear a choice? I think
it's a truck.
Evergreen. Evergreen. Oh my god. People are going to think of an algae.
The people of Everclear. The people of Evergreen their spirits are trapped within the Green Lantern ship, and Tomar Ray plans to use their spirits to kind of power the bullet he's calling the Green Lantern ship. They will be the bullet. The Green Lantern ship is the gun to fire at Mogo and take it out. Tomar Joe does not want that at all. I keep saying Tomar Joe, it's just fun that way. Joe Morlane. She's fighting to save her people. Tomar Ray keeps saying, you need to sacrifice 100 to save the billions of people across the universe because Mogo will not stop. It is relentless. This is how we stop the Black Stars. But she refuses to let that happen, and they fly off. Meanwhile, the fight outside is not going well, but then Mogo shows up, and on Mogo itself, we see Sin Astro, as we now see him has a bit of a robotic face, yellow armor, and a faceplate, as he says, no one escapes. And it turns out Sin Astro is also a manhunter. with his
Crazy.
own level of yellow light and black light. It seems to me he can control both ends of the spectrum. Sinestro is maybe the most interesting part for me in this book right
Really,
now.
I have another interesting part. One that I can't remember if it was mentioned explicitly in previous references to the Black Stars, but one where I was like, "Whoa, okay, this is a cool kind of pull."
What was that?
But oh no, I didn't know.
I thought you were going to continue.
I was going to wait for you to make your point on Sinestro.
No, fair enough. No, just that Sinestro is just he's such an anomaly right now, and not a Tomar way, just in a way that with his characterization here, his version of being a lantern or a light wielder in this world is so vastly different, and we know next to nothing still about it. I'm just very enthusiastic about what could possibly happen with him, what his whole being is, what his capabilities are, what he really is at the end of it. I have no clue. At least the others, we have an inkling, right? We're learning more as we go. Sinestro, we're getting tiny grains at a time, and they're not enough. That's why I just really want to know. And every grain we get just adds to the mystery. I really want to know what's going on with Sinestro because it looks like he's all over the place, but in a good way. The fight with Joe and Ray was fantastic, and Guy and John kind of showcasing their abilities that they've learned. Even though John kind of did I say Guy and Joe? Guy and John. Even though John got a bit of a rude awakening that his ability is not as effective as he thought it would be. Um, just fantastic stuff. This was a slobber knocker of an issue. It's going places. It's getting really freaking good, and I cannot wait to see what the end game is here for this opening salvo of the universe of lanterns. I'm giving this a 9 out of 10 this week.
Yeah, no, this is a book that has really come into its own mythology. And crazy that it's all kind of part of one large storyline. Like, I feel like there hasn't really been a definitive end to this arc. It's just been a lot of continuing evolution of these characters since issue one. But the thing that I had that flagged my attention this week, the thing that was connected to Sinestro but slightly disconnected, well, at least it's definitely is connected once you get to the end of the issue.
Yeah,
The Black Stars mention Moo, which I was like, I know that name.
you're
From
right.
Green Lantern. And so at first I was like, oh my God, like Al is doing such a great callback to that version of Moo, who was the sort of prime controller of the Dark Stars, only for them to then kind of pull the curtain back and be like, wait a minute, there is a man behind Moo, or there's an entity behind Moo. And then that's when they reveal the whole Sinestro connection, or at least that's how I read it. And I was like, that is so fascinating. And it makes me wonder, is there a separate entity for this version of Controller Moo, or is Sinestro just behind it all, like Oz or something? I don't know.
Right.
Really cool in how they sort of orchestrated this whole thing, and definitely has me wanting more after that reveal. The very sort of robotic looking Sinestro, but also just like how they're able to, I guess, derive meaning from his name and everything. There's just a lot of cool stuff that they've added to this mythology, and it just really has developed into its own universe within the separate universe, if that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
really cool. 8 out of 10 for me. Actually, 8.25 out of 10. I was
Right
really into this week.
Yeah, it's a solid issue. From here, we were going to do adventures.
We
Do you
can
want
do
to,
JSA.
yeah, jump into JSA,
Yeah,
and then I'll
so
do Batman and Poison Ivy concurrently?
we're on the same wavelength, my friend. JSA number 20 is part 2 of The Search for the Spectre, written, of course, by Jeff Lemire, with art by Diego Olortegui, colors by Luis Guerrero, and letters by Steve Wands. In the middle of Manhattan, the Spectre is causing mayhem and is unleashing judgment upon everyone. And the JSA are not entirely powerless to stop it, but are not sure what the approach is Kid Eternity then informs them that the Spectre is untethered at the moment, and without a host, it's pretty much acting on its own impulses. So Alan decides to make the ultimate sacrifice and become the host for the Spectre, only for Jay to make a last-minute call and knock him out of the way, saying that Alan is far too important, and thus becomes the host of the Spectre, at least for a brief moment. In honestly, kind of a sick looking costume. Not gonna lie. That Jay is looking pretty cool. But Jay's not able to contain, I guess, the weight of the Spectre's influence, and so it moves on to Our Man, lashing out for a brief moment before then moving on to its next host. I forget who it moves on to. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It stays with Our Man for a little bit. We then cut away to some of the junior JSAers, who are trying to seek out Jim Corrigan and hopefully get this Spectre reined in with someone who's able to, keep him under control. So Khalid spirits them away to a mysterious place, which is then revealed to be the House of Mystery, to find the one person who might just be able to point them towards Jim Corrigan, none other than Madame Xanadu, who gives them a quick history lesson on Jim Corrigan and his relationship with the Spectre. They had been together, obviously, as host and entity for many years before splitting and then coming back. And as Xanadu mentions, even though they've been apart and the Spectre has had different hosts at different points in time, always seems to come back to Jim Corrigan. Unfortunately, she, despite knowing all this, does not know where Jim Corrigan is, which is not the answer they're looking for, because something seems to be clouding his location. Kid Eternity, however, is just kind of visible for Madame Xanadu, so she reaches out to try and connect with whoever this being is, and is briefly overtaken with an image that kind of knocks out Kid Eternity for a moment. We cut back to Manhattan, where the Our Man possessed Spectre is battling with the rest of the JSA, and that's when it moves on to its final host, breaking free, or at least leaving behind Our Man, and moving on to none other than Obsidian, which honestly, worst possible choice for the JSA, given Obsidian's power to elicit shadows, as we see.
Yeah.
Literally bathing New York in darkness. We cut back to the rest of the JSAers who were at the House of Mystery. Kid Eternity wakes up from being knocked out momentarily, only to find that Xanadu still is unable to locate Jim Corrigan. But who should arrive but Metron at that very moment, informing them that he knows where Jim Corrigan is, and they must work together to save the universe from damnation. So we'll see where things end up next month. A very solid issue, a great follow-up to last month's issue, certainly ups the stakes, what with the Spectre hopping from host to host, but now, I guess, seemingly settling on Obsidian and plunging New York into darkness is going to put them in a very unfortunate position. But great to see the universe of the JSA expanding a little bit. We get the awesome Madame Xanadu cameo, get the Metron appearance. Like, there's a lot to be invested in. So definitely has a nice setup for next month, which you can look forward to there. So I gave this one an 8 out of 10, like a solid issue all around. I will say maybe didn't really need the whole history lesson on Jim Corrigan, but I guess if you're not as familiar with the character, it might be nice. But like, who isn't familiar with the origin of the Spectre at this point? Or at least the origin of Jim Corrigan and his connection to the Spectre.
Yeah.
I might be sounding a little gatekeepy there. I apologize, but like, it's been so many times. But other than that, solid issue.
100% agree. This was a page turner for me. It was very, very solid. I was reading it, and I'm sure you must have foreseen. I was seeing it as like parallax hopping between all the Green Lanterns.
Yeah.
Very much like that is what all I could think of as that was happening. So I was very happy with it. I was pleasantly delighted with all of it. did it look to you like Metron looked different at the end there? Like the design was different, or was it a different person?
Not
Like almost a
really.
darker skin tone as well. Like the Metron we're used to is very pasty. This
Yeah,
guy
I
looked like a
wasn't
darker
looking
skin
too
tone.
closely. I mean, it could be a coloring thing,
Could be,
but
yeah.
I mean, the suit looked, on par with everything we've seen. So
Yeah. No, the suit was
it could
definitely
be. That
there.
could be a new host.
Which would be interesting at the Metron. Like I think the last time we saw Metron, he was killed by Darkseid, wasn't he? Or Doctor
No.
Manhattan?
So yeah, Metron had lost the
Oh no, that's what
chair,
it was. He lost. Yeah, he lost
um,
the chair.
but it
Got
was
it back.
Owlman. Yeah, Owlman was in the chair, and then he was the one who got killed by Doctor Manhattan.
Yeah, I think last time we saw Metron, he was still around. I don't know. We'll have to
Yeah.
see.
Well, oh, actually, yeah. He was in. It was just in New Gods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I can't wait for that book to come back.
Hopefully, knock on
Hopefully.
wood. It's been a
Yeah.
little while, dude.
That and the Vigil. I will never
Yeah.
stop talking about the Vigil.
You might be the only one waiting for the sequel, but hey, might
Romney
be.
promised the Vigil will return, and God damn it, the Vigil will return.
There were 3 of those. Whatever that line was called, the
Yeah.
DC Pacific Heroes or something, and man, we ain't seen none of them since. Maybe you get a cameo from. Oh my God, what's her name from Spirit World?
Yeah, they appeared in a couple things, but that was about it.
Xanthi, I think.
Yeah, that was a fun book too.
Yeah, I don't
City
know.
Boy's never coming back. That's for sure.
Yeah,
City Boy's
kind of done. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but you never know. Could come back.
Yeah.
We can only hope.
This issue I'm giving an 8.75. Just a solid issue. Got me really excited for what's coming down the line. They're really hammering home the search for the Spectre, and the whole thing, like how you're describing the Spectre and Jim Corrigan, like long lost lovers. They've tried different people, but it's just never been the same as their first true love.
Yeah. It's also just like Jim Corrigan. This is the one that always gets me. It was like Jim Corrigan found his peace. Like he was good. His soul found heaven. He was done.
Yeah.
But he just kept being brought back. Like I can't get a break from this fucking Spectre, man.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. But hell, he was good. Yeah, so that is that. Then we're gonna jump on over to Batman number 10. Of course, again, I didn't get the fucking credits page ready. Oh yeah, because this time it's in the middle of the goddamn issue. This is written by Matt Fraction with art and cover from Jorge Jimenez, colors from Tomamori, and letters from Clayton Cowles with Jorge Jimenez. So bear with me on this one because this book is each issue has just been kind of all over the place. It's been a bit of a confusing turn. Spinning out of last issue, Wayne Manor has been destroyed. Spoiler alert, we still do not know why by the end of this issue, but Damian is kind of reassuring Stephanie and Duke that there is a plan in place. Excuse me. Meanwhile, Commissioner Vandal Savage is going on TV on all sorts of news sources and doing the old Trumpadoodle thing and fudging some numbers, and every time he's making an appearance is making a new grandiose spectacle of how many bases and plans they took down for Batman, but also just reassuring the city that Batman is no more. We took down Batman. We destroyed all his caches and his bases and his private stuff. And all his tools and gadgets are ours. He's not coming back. And then Batman comes back. He makes a plan. There is a plan, and his plan is as follows to a certain degree. He goes out there that same night and just lets the city of Gotham know that he's still around. And while he's taking down criminals the old-fashioned way, using the shadows and using fear, he's also leaving these little boxes behind in random places around the city. He has a brief moment of seeing Catwoman in Alleytown across some buildings, across from some rooftops. They have a brief glance at each other and then part ways. What that was about, I'm not entirely sure. Batgirl or Barbara Gordon then has a video message pre-recorded and timed to send to Duke, Steph, and Damien that they all got of her just reassuring them that her and Bruce have a plan. There is a plan in place. Trust the plan. I might not be there, but the plan is the plan. Trust it. And that is around the same time that all those boxes that Bruce was leaving around the city open up, and then drones come flying out. Um, and all three of them get very excited, and Steph even teary-eyed with tears streaming down her face. And it's all these drones that fly into the sky and form a giant bat symbol that they're calling Bat Signal 2.0. As obviously the Bat Signal cannot exist with Vandal Savage as commissioner of GCPD, so they have to improvise and make their own Bat Signal, I suppose. At the same time, so the Minotaur, who I think we've already seen, but I vaguely remember him being around, has a discussion with somebody else in his little cabal about something going on with Hugo Strange. But basically, Hugo Strange was killed in a Halo gunfire. That's about the gist of this issue.
Dang.
Let's do another quick run through, and yeah, I believe that is about it. A little bit all over the place, and I don't quite see the big picture here. It's just it's 10 issues. Each one feels like it's told its own story, even though it's all part of one big story. I'm still not up on this whole run, and I hate that because I like Mad Fraction, but I haven't been able to enjoy this run. I like it better than Hush 2. I'll give it that. But there's parts I can appreciate, but for the most part, when it comes to big picture stuff, it's failing for me. I just don't see it. I don't see the image. Maybe it's just taking too long. Maybe the pacing is too whack for me. I don't know. Like there's too much going on in a short amount of time, and none of it's making sense to me. So this one is getting a 5.
Dang.
To be honest, I feel like Josh this week, but here we are. I feel like Josh would be giving it a 3 though. But hey, Jorge Jimenez, great fucking art.
I don't know. I feel like I've really come around to this run, honestly, and like I get what the overall story is meant to be. It's essentially Batman versus Vandal Savage, in this sort of war for Gotham City. Like that's it in a nutshell. I can understand that maybe the way it's being told isn't quite as conventional, but it's really grown on me, and it just like I feel like it's come into its own, and it has so much personality to it that's what's really keeping me going. And I really felt that with the last issue where where Babs got arrested. Like there was so much in the way that it was told. And Fraction is such an interesting style in the way that he'll approach storytelling, and I feel like that's finally kind of shining through here, because the first couple issues it was maybe a little unclear, and I wasn't really sure what he's trying to say, but I get a better sense of it now, and I think his sort of overall vision is a lot more clear. Like again, even if maybe the way that the story is being told isn't necessarily super obvious and straightforward. Like I get what it's trying to do, and I don't know. I'm interested. I'm still interested. So
I think for me, if it was just Batman versus Vandal Savage in a giant war for the spirit of Gotham, I'd be down for that. But it's all the side stuff that's really getting to me, like Barbara getting arrested, Tim quitting, Damien nearly giving up Bruce's identity. It's all the side story stuff. Even that issue with him and Alan Scott in a coffee shop. I think I get why Alan was involved, but it just felt so off the cuff and unneeded. It kind of just took away from the pacing for me.
I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
but I don't know. I mean, even that issue, I was one that I enjoyed. I think I talked about it on the show, just because it was nice seeing Bruce and Alan talk about, well, really Alan talking about his sort of understanding of Vandal Savage as a person, but also his intentions.
Yeah,
A different understanding than Bruce, given his own history, which is why I think Bruce was hoping to seek him out, either intentionally or unintentionally. And that was what I was like, oh, okay, this is an interesting twist. Because honestly, based on that cover, I thought it was just going to be a random, disconnected team up between the two fighting some ninjas or some shit. But it actually turned out to be a very interesting twist on examining the relationship of both of them after Vandal Savage. So I don't know. Like I said, it's a book that clearly is not for everyone, but
yeah.
for me at least right now, it's doing it for me.
And I might be even a little more biased about that Alan Scott issue because I think we can all figure, if you know your history with Alan Scott and Vandal Savage debuted in All American Comics in a
If
story
anyone would
from
know, it
Alan
would be
Scott.
you.
It would be me, yeah.
Yeah.
But as far as their history together goes in a one-on-one scenario, Vandal Savage came back and fought the JSA and the JLA, and like they had run-ins before. But that initial appearance of Vandal Savage is the only time he appeared in an Alan Scott centric story. That's the only time they fought one-on-one, and it was not that much of a fight. Doiby did most of the fighting in that one.
Yeah. It's very much like a retroactive history that they've added since, which I think is probably just because, I don't know. Actually, I'm trying to think. Yeah. For some reason, I was thinking Vandal Savage was Solomon Grundy for a second because I was like, oh, he's from Slaughter. Wait a minute. That's not right.
Yeah, that's the other All-American Comics issue.
Yeah, that's the other one. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't mind terribly. It's one of those ones where like adding that extra history, maybe not necessarily making him exclusively a Green Lantern villain, but just having there be a little bit more history and understanding there. I don't mind terribly. But I can see where you're coming from, where it's like, it's not like they were having back-to-back battles in All-American, you know?
No. Like even Solomon Grundy's, as far as I know, has had 3 appearances in Alan Scott's Golden Age career.
Well, we know that can't be the case. You were just like, you're just talking about an extended period where he's just fighting run-of-the-mill mobster characters. Yeah.
But in that period, he had Vandal Savage and Solomon Grundy debut. Right? But that was it for like supervillains up until All-American number 88. Right, and then it's just shotgunning supervillains out the ass. You got the Fool, you got the the Gambler was around too. You got the Gambler, you got the Fool, Sportsmaster, the Harlequin, Icicle. It's been a fucking blast recently.
Yeah, that Icicle cover, man,
great, so good,
great.
All-American number 90, such a good cover. But we will jump on over to our next book, which is Poison Ivy, number 45. It's in 46. This is written by G. Willow Wilson with art from Leandro Fernandez, colors from Marif Brianto, letters from Hassan Esmane El and the cover from Jessica Fong. Always a very nice cover. So Isley is the mayor of Gotham, and a lot of people are starting to maybe not have the same opinion that they did when she was initially elected. Even news desks are being co-opted by I forget her, that one guy's name that she met in prison. It's not Tiger Shark. What the fuck is his name?
Josh would know. I can't even remember.
Yeah, I can't remember his name with the sharp teeth and the.
I can't remember anything today, man.
Don't worry, you're the librarian, man. You gotta know.
I know. I'm bad. No for 12 here.
He's kind of enforcing the news to tell Isley's side of the story in a positive fashion, and even still, she's getting kind of attacked outside City Hall by reporters just trying to get questions answered. and she's ignoring them as best she can. Then Janet comes up to her and tells her, "By the way, I got visited by Batman last night, and he told me to tell you that you need to resign." That has all kind of doubled Pam's resolve. She demands a sit down with Vandal Savage, where she kind of puts the weight on him a little bit and gets in his face the way that he did with her when she first came back in what issue 41, 42, when she first got to Gotham. And she's telling him, get your shit together, take him out. I don't care what you had to do, bring me Batman. Um, Janet from HR and I forget her name, but basically the mayor's aide, kind of agree that Pamela needs to see what's she's doing is wrong. Um, so they go off together to figure out what they can do next to try and bring Pam back to a sense of doing things the right way. Finally, to cap off the issue, at her home in the mayor's mansion that same evening, Pam is trying to write a letter to Harley to just apologize for what we still do not know why they broke up, but she just misses Harley so much she wants to get her back. However, she hears something happening outside the window in the garden, and she thinks it's Harley, so she heads out to look for her, but instead it's actually a member of the Parliament of Trees that is getting up in her face. That she murdered other members of the Parliament of Trees, and they want to basically, this guy wants to take her out. But Ivy showcases her level of control over plant life is a lot stronger than they ever bargained for. She takes him down, gets in his face, and basically says, "I will burn every member of the Parliament in charcoal if I have to. And if you attack," and he even threatens Harley, "if you hurt Harley, nothing will stop me. Nothing will protect you. She's the only human that matters, and I will find you." He leaves after that, but leaving with the threat that there will be no mercy left for her in the future. She figures she has one possibility left. She heads into the Marshview Forest to find Xylon. Xylon then basically says, "Nah, B, you've burnt your bridge with me too. You failed your task in providing sanctuary between the God, what was it, the Parliament Trees and the Parliament of the Spores or whatever, the Mushroom Kingdom, Princess Peach, and yeah." And the gray, yeah, and you failed, and so I can no longer help you. Bye bye. So the Parliament Trees have left her behind. The gray have left her behind, and then I keep wanting to call him Zemnu. Xylon somehow grows gigantic and drops her in the middle of the sky, right above Gotham, and she's left falling to her death. But next is the Regency era. That can only end well. Despite the fact that I keep wanting to call Xylon Zemnu, and I think that's understandable if you know Zemnu. To me, it's a similar design. And they both fight green things. It kind of works hand in hand. Interesting enough issue. I'm still not up on this new. I'm apprehensive to call it era for Poison Ivy because we know it's not going to last forever. It's basically just a story arc, and just for the remainder of this year, really. But I'm still not up on it. I still much preferred the story he was telling before, and I still feel like this whole mayoral thing is kind of forced to try and find some universe cohesion, and I just don't think it was the right move. But maybe by the end, when they come out on the other side, they'll be better off for it when they get back to the story that G. Willow Wilson has been telling for the past 45 issues, or at least the first 41 before this. It will feel much better for it. Mayor Isley is something I was intrigued by and I thought could be a good thing, but I don't love it. I don't hate it either, though. I think it's an interesting turn for Poison Ivy. I just don't think I love this era for Gotham City right now. I really don't. So it's going to get a 7 for me. It's still Poison Ivy. It's still a banger book. but it's just not for me right now. I'm
Yeah.
waiting until this arc is done.
Mm. Yeah, no, I mean, sorry, I was getting a ping
No
from
worries.
someone at work. Anyway,
Josh, you like Batman?
oh my god. No, I hear.
Maybe I'll find you.
Yeah, I hear where you're coming from. I still find the sort of mayor angle somewhat interesting. You know, it's definitely amusing seeing Ivy in such a bureaucratic position, but also like still definitely able to pull out the roots and lay the smackdown on Savage, you know, when she needs to.
Yeah,
So there's stuff that like that I find pretty interesting. Um, but I don't know. I won't say it's the most exciting stuff that the book has provided so far. I am kind of interested to see how this is going to lead into the upcoming event. It's called Bad Seeds. Um,
great.
but for now, it's more just this is an interesting twist. Like, let's see where it goes. So that's sort of where my thoughts have been. And that's sort of sort of still how I feel about the arc as a whole. So I think I gave this one give it a 7.75 out of 10.
Fair enough. Well, that's one thing I hate about Transformers, that they don't fit right. You think you're doing things wrong. And it looks right, but at the same time it doesn't, because you find one joint that just doesn't line up, even though the rest is perfect. I see you said a 7 out of 10 as well.
Yep.
Right up. All right, 7-7. And that'll bring us to our last book of the week, The Dead Man. I'm so stoked to talk about this one. Brandon will be telling us about this.
Oh yeah, wait, sorry, 1 second. Just gotta send a message.
One more thing, kind of comics related. It's been rumored for years, but we finally today got a trailer for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin, the video game.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Dang.
Same developers as Bayonetta, Near Automata.
Wow.
I guess more of a teaser trailer. I'm looking at it right now, and it's official teaser trailer. So you don't get any gameplay or anything, or even character designs, but it's official. It's happening.
Hell yeah! I have to check that one out. See what the game looks like.
Release still TBA. That's literally all the information there is. But hey, at least we know it's real.
Yeah. Anyway, The Dead Man, #1, our next level debut, our newest next level debut, is brought to us by one W. Maxwell Prince of Ice Cream Man fame, joined also by his co-conspirator Martin Morazzo, also from Ice Cream Man, Chris O'Halloran, also from Ice Cream Man, and good old Neon, also from Ice Cream Man. They got the whole team together to do this crazy, bizarre take on Dead Man. And let me just say that is not exaggeration. This is quite an imaginative but very interesting take. So our story starts with the outer Gotham Rural Hospital, a place that they're referring to as the Hospice Hotel, or at least Ward 13 of this hospital is referred to as the Hospice Hotel, basically where people go to die. And our introduction to Boston Brand in this context is as a spiritual custodian who guides souls to the afterlife, although in this particular instance is guiding souls who are dying in the hospital on their way to the afterlife. We get a brief little recap, very much taken from the iconic, although now almost parodied, opening to All-Star Superman, just getting us up to speed on Dead Man's origins before he sort of goes into some of the differences and nuances of people who are about to pass on from this world. So you have some people who kind of get caught or stuck as their spirits are about to leave their bodies. Some people who are, I guess, a little closer towards life than towards death and are sort of clinging on before eventually passing on. But Boston is keeping up with his job before eventually deciding he's going to clock out, needs to catch the bus back home. We have a brief interlude where we're introduced to, at least to my understanding, a newer character, Mr. M, going through some kind of skincare routine before receiving gifts from his maidens of some kind, and then heading into a mysterious dining room. We'll follow up on that later. But for now, we're going to follow Boston home, or at least to this new place that he's calling home, a nice suburban kind of area called Robertsville, filled with what you would expect, a bunch of humans, but also a bunch of ghosts. A bunch of ghosts that we are introduced to who are, I'm not going to say are the supporting cast of this book, but just, I guess, add a little bit more flavor to the new sort of scenario, or not scenario, the new environment that Boston is in. So you have a number of different spirits who are in various states. One who, I guess, is caught between moments. You have a couple who's also kind of caught between moments, reliving one particular moment over and over for the rest of their lives. And then little prohibition kid who's almost like Boston's sidekick, is just kind of following him around while Boston is sort of narrating a lot of stuff about the neighborhood and some of its inhabitants. But while he sort of reveals the real reason why he chose Robertsville as his new place of dwelling, as it is the current residence of an old flame of his, who should interrupt his inner brooding, but none other than Ramakrishna, who informs Boston that he has a job to do and he better get the hell on it because someone is about to enter the afterlife, i.e., they're going to die, and Boston needs to get there to make sure that their passage is swift. So he does. We cut to a scene where bikers just going down the road, but unfortunately falls into I don't know what exactly, kind of a skid before crashing and ultimately losing his life. We see that his spirit is leaving its body before being devoured by some kind of spectral demon, leaving him beheaded, and Boston must then turn his attention towards this demon and fight it off. Although, unfortunately, while he's successful in doing so, the sort of after the soul of the biker who had died is still lingering now that its head is gone, and doesn't seem to be able to pass on into the afterlife. Before we can get any answers as to why that is, we cut back to the mysterious figure introduced earlier, Mr. M, as he goes to feast on poor, not quite unsuspecting, but certainly non-deserving victim, narrating some very bizarre psycho shit that honestly doesn't make entire sense at the moment, but I'm sure has some kind of purpose later. Very much Professor Pig inspired, if you understand that. We cut back to Dead Man, who is now in Nanda Parbat and has brought gifts to his master, if you will, Ramakrishna, who, as he mentioned earlier, is essentially a child. So the gift that he presents is crayons, and she's super excited. But ultimately, Boston's more interested in what the hell is going on with the whole spiritual demons, killing souls and all that stuff. So Rama then informs him that Boston will need to undergo a change in order to clean up this mess and figure out what the hell is going on with these demons. He has a whole costume change, I guess more fitting with his new status quo. I mean, he's still the spiritual custodian, but I guess now has a more specific purpose and trying to identify what the hell is going on in purgatory. And then we cut back to Mr. M, once again enjoying birthday wishes from his maidens, who then leave behind their human shells to become, if not the same beings, then very similar to the spiritual demons we saw earlier, sort of celebrating his birthday, if you will. And that's where our issue ends. Very trippy, very bizarre, but very interesting. Definitely one that I'm curious about. I can't help but see the similarities between the storytelling style here and Ice Cream Man. Prince has a very signature voice, very defined voice, very unique one, but it is all over this book in spades, which I really appreciate, because for a character like Deadman, who certainly has a personality and has a lot of history, there's still a lot that you can do with the character, that you can kind of have your own approach. So I like that this book is taking it in a bit of a different direction. And if it's going to lean into maybe Boston Brand being this kind of trying to think the best word for it, like spiritual detective or spiritual protector of souls against these demons, I'm all for that. But if they end up going the more episodic route, because it looks like next issue is going to be a team up, I'm all for that too. I'm just very curious what this team has in store for Deadman, and what they're going to bring forward in subsequent issues. But I thought this was a pretty strong one, and definitely has me excited for what they bring next. So I gave this one an 8.5 out of 10. Maybe I'm a little biased. I do love Ice Cream Man, so obviously the book had a lot going for it from the start, but I think this was a pretty solid debut, all things considered.
I 100% agree. It was a solid first issue. I wasn't sure what to expect with this. It's W. Maxwell Prince is the writer, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I forget the artist's name.
Martin Morazzo.
Martin Morazzo. Worked together recently. Imagine they've worked together a few times, but worked together more recently that I know of on Superman: The Kryptonite Spectrum, and that was another one I was interested in, but was on the fence of. Mostly, I'll be honest, because of the art style. The art style is kind of very unique.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to Deadman, having read the Kryptonite Spectrum and knowing this is Deadman, I was very excited to see what this pairing could do. And with that expectation in mind, far surpassed it, got me even more excited for this. It is a fantastic first issue. Got me hooked almost right away. Deadman, I'm not brushed up on Deadman. There hasn't really been a proper Deadman story in years anyway, a couple of decades at least.
Yeah, he's had cameos and events, and obviously Justice League Red recently, but yeah.
As far as him being this custodian and bringing souls to the afterlife, I don't know if that's like a modern age or Bronze Age thing or what. It's not the Deadman I've known as. It's a guy that's worked with Ramakrishna to try and solve murders and inhabit other bodies and try and pay penance for his life, or try to solve his own murder. That was the history I've always known for Boston Brand, being a person that is essentially the Grim Reaper and helping bring souls to the afterlife. Is a new side of Boston Brand as Deadman, but I kind of like it for him. I think it's very interesting. So I don't know if that's a thing that's already been established in Boston Brand's history. If it's not, if it's new, I think it's good. If it's already been there, also good. It's a good choice. And it's the way this is going so far. The overarching story, I think Boston and this have yet to fully cross paths, but they've had their hinting towards each other. I like it. It's solid first issue. And the stuff with Ramakrishna, again, very different from anything we've seen in the past 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
So I like it a lot. 9 out of 10.
Yeah. Exciting new era for Deadman. I love it.
Yeah. And that about this. Sorry, what was your score for it again?
I gave it 8.5.
8.5, right on. Yeah, so that about does it for our books. Let's get into our top 3 and favorite moments. I can kick things off right away. JSA at number 3, Absolute Green Lantern at number 2, The Deadman at number 1. For my favorite moment, like fucking pick them from The Deadman. There was so many good ones, but I think like I'm gonna go with Boston talking to that kid ghost.
Yeah. Now, I hope he's a recurring character.
It's kind of fun.
One. Yeah. I also oh god, I feel like Josh would probably watch this show. Did you ever watch the show Ghosts?
I've seen some episodes. I know of it, both the American and the British one, but I haven't seen the whole thing.
This feels like it could be. This feels like it could be Dead Man's version of Ghosts. Maybe not so much with like, a bunch of characters from different periods, but like just different kinds of ghosts that Boston can interact with, and it'll kind of be like a recurring cast. I don't know, but like
Yeah.
I was thinking that too, and I was like, damn, that's a killer premise right there.
Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong show.
Well, I mean, the show is, for anyone unfamiliar, is basically just like this old house with a bunch of ghosts who have died, but they're from various periods.
It's a comedy, right?
Yeah, so there's like,
Yeah,
it's like
okay,
a hippie ghost. There's like the closeted Victorian or Edwardian ghost. Like it's a very funny show. I don't think I've seen the British one, but
no, I was there probably isn't. I was thinking of the wrong show.
Well, I think there actually might be, but I don't know. Honestly, there probably is so many American ripoffs, but great show. Kind of reminded me of that.
Fair enough. The show I was thinking of, I forget what it was called, but it's a similar house. It's got a ghost, a vampire, and a werewolf living together.
Oh yeah.
And it was more of like a horror drama that had a British and an American version.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with that one.
Forget what it was called. Yeah. Favorite cover, obviously, like I mentioned last week in the solo show, I do not have the capabilities to show off the covers. So we could skip this if you want.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't really do without having the covers on the screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
might even just give it to the Dead Man anyway.
I would say like of the covers we had this week, I mean, there were some pretty good ones, but it's either, I mean, it was between Batman and Dead Man for me. I have my copy here.
Right.
I would say Dead Man is pretty cool. That's quite an evocative cover right there. And also, I can't believe I'm only just now realizing this, but Dead Man's face, like face on the cover, has a bunch of faces hidden underneath white. Somehow my eyes didn't quite register that until just now.
On Boston's face?
Yeah. If you look closely, there's a bunch of like faces on it.
Shit.
Yeah, so I know, right?
That's crazy.
It's one of those things you don't really notice until you look at it a little more closely.
Yeah, like that. Oh shit! I was actually probably going to give it to Batman just because it looks very dynamic, but damn, looking at this a little closer, I might just have to give it to the Dead Man.
It's pretty good.
Solid cover. Now they were actually all pretty good this week.
Oh yeah,
all 5 covers. Anywho, that about does it. We're gonna wrap things up. How long did we go?
Almost 2.5 hours.
Not bad.
A good chunk of which we were talking about none of the books.
Nope. Typical.
It's got to be like a fucking disclaimer with some of these longer episodes where it's like, caution, we may or may not go on very long, disconnected like tangents.
Yeah.
Also, may or may not be about Spider-Man.
It is at some point.
Times.
Yeah. It's hard not to talk about Spider-Man sometimes. Yeah, so that about does it for the show. We're gonna get out of here, so you have to as well. And don't forget, everybody has a home in the Geek Matrix. You are not alone. Peace.